Chapter 437. Everyone's gazes were focused on the cloaked man with complicated expressions. Everyone knew that the cloaked man had the support of a deity. He might even be a god himself, or an incarnation of a god. A loud voice echoed in the sea, "Now, there are only 6 places left. Whoever wants to go to the Golden Strait, hurry up and pay the divine force crystals." An expert in a cyan cloak took out a storage ring and said coldly, "Here are 30,000 divine force crystals. I want to go." A starry sky ripper descended from the sky. After verifying the authenticity of the storage ring, it immediately carried the expert in the cyan cloak to the black steel warship. Now, there are only 5 places left. A great beauty with a voluptuous figure, long purple hair falling in waves, exuding a strong femininity, took out a storage ring with a smile and handed it to a starry sky ripper. "Here are 30,000 divine force crystals. Please let me enter the Golden Strait." After verification, a starry sky ripper flew towards the black steel warship with the purple-haired beauty. Now, there are only 4 places left. The surrounding legend rank experts looked at the aircraft carrier fleets in the depths of the sea, their eyes flickering, but they were silent. If 30,000 divine force crystals could buy an apple of wisdom, it would naturally be a big profit. But paying 30,000 divine force crystals might not be enough to get that apple of wisdom. The powerful existences hidden behind the legend rank experts were all racking their brains and hesitating. 30,000 divine force crystals was not a small number. On the desolate islands, many demigod monsters would only accumulate a few hundred divine force crystals after hundreds of years. Even the Radiant Church, with countless believers, could only accumulate about 1,000 divine force crystals in a year. The 30,000 divine force crystals were like a huge threshold, blocking countless experts who longed to go to the Golden Strait to get the apple of wisdom. Ansai looked deeply at the aircraft carrier fleets and said indifferently, "Avalon, how about we join forces and destroy those puppets together?" "Avalon, it's him. The strongest hero of the Titan Empire who inherited the name of Titan in the 10th generation. The legendary hero of the Titan Empire who slayed a demigod-rank ancient evil dragon and a kindred baron. Reportedly, during his lifetime, he was a peerless powerhouse who could rival gods." Upon hearing the name Avalon, the knowledgeable legendary powerhouses at the side thought of a famous figure in history. All of them looked at Avalon with shock in their eyes. Avalon was one of the 10 strongest human heroes of the Titan Empire and even the Fesua Plain since the War of the Gods. During his lifetime, he killed several demigod-rank freaks. According to legend, his strength was even comparable to that of gods. It was naturally shocking for such a powerful hero to emerge from a divine country. The Titan Empire's hero spirits were transformed from the souls of legendary powerhouses of the Titan Empire. Every hero spirit was a peerless genius of the Titan Empire. After those peerless geniuses transformed into martyrs, they fought and practiced cultivation in their divine countries, and their strength improved continuously over the past tens of thousands of years. During his lifetime, Avalon already possessed the strength to rival gods, and after fighting for tens of thousands of years, his battle prowess was immeasurable. Avalon smiled slightly, then turned to look at Briheia. "Your Highness Princess Briheia, would you like to join us in exterminating the human warlock from another plane?" "Of course. Respected Mr. Avalon, we merfolk are willing to join hands with you to eliminate that damned human warlock." Briheia smiled coldly and politely, and then slashed at the void with her trident. A divine country projection suddenly appeared. The divine country was shrouded in endless sea water, and was accompanied by gales, torrential rains, lightning, tornadoes, and all kinds of natural disasters. A boundless, endless, terrifying aura that seemed to be able to devour and contain everything gushed out from the phantom of the divine kingdom. Sea gods guards with crocodile-like heads, fins, and blue gills rushed out of the divine kingdom with blue tridents in their hands. The sea guards were divine legions that the god of the merfolk god Hrihari created from various formidable souls. In the sea guards were the most powerful divine legions, and even the angel legion and the brave legion were not their match. Avalon swept the beastman and elven fleets with a glance and said majestically, "Cavril, Fran, will you join us to fight the human warlock from another plane, or will you leave immediately?" Brihaya and Onsai's gazes focused on a Lionman expert and a beautiful Elven expert aboard the Beastman and Elven joint fleet, and their beautiful eyes filled with frigid killing intent. The Angel Army, the Hero Army, and the Sea God's Guard, these three divine legions could easily crush the Beastmen and Elven fleets if they joined hands. Let's join hands and get rid of that human warlock. Cavril grinned, then took out a beast bone necklace and tossed it into the air. The beast bone necklace radiated resplendent light, and a divine country projection suddenly appeared. Countless Beastman emissaries dressed in black armor were fighting inside the divine country. One after another, Beastman emissaries dressed in black armor flew out of the beast bone necklace. Each of them had bloodshot eyes and flickered with a fearsome beast-like aura, looking like peerless beasts ready to devour humans. Fren raised her eyebrows and waved her lily-white hand, and a leaf filled with the aura of nature flew out. The leaf that was filled with the aura of nature shone brightly, and the phantom of a divine kingdom suddenly appeared. Within the divine kingdom, there were countless forests, and battle elves that were incomparably beautiful and gave off a valiant aura shuttled back and forth in the forest. The battle elves were weapons made from the souls of elven powerhouses who died and were reborn in a divine country. They were fused with elven divine wood and divine power through various outrageous methods. Their individual combat strength wasn't inferior to that of the angel legions. However, their numbers were far inferior to that of the angel legions. Amazing! That's the 5 divine legions. Is this a sign that a war of gods is about to begin? When the divine legions of the 5 divine systems that dominate the Fesua plain appeared in the sea, the gazes of the legend-ranked powerhouses filled with shock focused on the 5 divine legions. Although due to the planar tide, the strongest of the 5 divine legions didn't appear, but this part of their strength was enough to raise some low-grade planes. Although the foundation of the Fesua plains gods was on the Fesua plain, but they would also send countless divine legions to attack, preach, and harvest faith force to other low-grade planes. It was very difficult for the true bodies of the gods to descend to a plane other than the Fesua plane. As such, the divine legions were their strongest subordinates on a punitive expedition to other planes. Each of the divine legions was an elite expert who had gone through countless battles. Their fighting strength could be well imagined. Attack! Destroy them! Kill that wretched human warlock! A cold glint flashed in Avalon's eyes. With a loud roar, his figure flickered slightly, leaving behind countless afterimages as he flew toward a fleet of aircraft carriers like lightning. Boom! 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 Wherever Avalon's figure passed, the dragon spear in his hand constantly flashed, and the starry sky rippers along the way were all shattered and exploded. In midair, it was as if a gorgeous flower had bloomed. As soon as Avalon moved, the heroic spirits of the Martyr's Palace immediately followed behind him and rushed towards the aircraft carrier fleet. The braves of the Martyr Palaces were of various professions, such as priests, wizards, druids, knights, sacred swordsmen, assassins, archers, and so on. The braves possessed demigod-rank battle prowess. After fighting for tens of thousands of years, they not only reached the pinnacle of martial arts, but also improved their tacit understanding in battle. Under Avalon's leadership, the braves could even kill Moonlight Warlock-rank existences. The heroes of the Martyr's Palace were like shooting stars as they slaughtered their way into a fleet of aircraft carriers. As soon as the monstrous martyrs got close, the destroyers and cruisers exploded one after another. Onsai led the huge Angel Corps from another direction and attacked another aircraft carrier cluster. The Radiant Angel Legion was proficient in healing, defensive, and buffing spells, and it was very agile in the air. Under Onsai's leadership, once the Radiant Angels were injured by the beams, they immediately retreated, and the stronger angels acted as meat shields in front of them. At the same time, they cast healing spells to heal the injuries of the Radiant Angels. Onsai, who was in the vanguard, was even more astonishingly powerful. Wherever she passed, starry sky rippers would explode and turn into countless components that collapsed in all directions. Only 10 Radiant Angels of the powerful Radiant Angel Legion were blasted to pieces, before the Radiant Angel Legion pounced on a steel fleet. With countless flashes of light, spears of light and arrows of light stabbed into the steel fleet, pierced through the Steel Fleet's defenses, and blasted the Steel Fleet apart. Like ferocious beasts, the Beastman emissaries braved the artillery fire, rushed into a Steel Fleet, and frantically destroyed it. The Battle Elves unleashed incredible archery skills. Streaks of emerald light shot into the sky, shooting down the supersonic fighters one after another. Chapter 438. The Sea Guards plunged into the sea. Exuding the law of water and wielding blue tridents, the Sea Guards flickered in and out of sight in the sea, and then rushed into the midst of the sea hunters like ghosts. Like large piranhas, countless sea hunters formed a school of fish that could devour everything and pounced on the sea gods' guards. A sea guard stabbed forward with the blue trident in their hands. The law of water surged, and a violent whirlpool of water suddenly appeared and swept towards the sea hunters. Large swaths of sea hunters were drawn into the violent whirlpool of water, which contained countless fearsome water blades. With a twist of those terrifying water blades, the sea hunters were shredded into pieces one by one. The sea gods' guards were like a sharp knife that pierced into the group of sea hunters and tore open a huge hole. The mermaid Empress Brihea led the merfolk's high priests to cast all kinds of buffs on the sea gods' guards, continuously strengthening them. The 5 divine legions charged into the sea under Yang Feng's control from 5 different directions. Explosions rang incessantly among the steel fleets. One by one, the powerful battleships exploded and sank into the sea. In the sky, fighter jets exploded one after another and fell into the sea. Aboard the black steel warship, Faldina frowned, and her beautiful eyes shimmered with worry. Cecilia's gaze shifted slightly and fell on Yang Feng. The gazes of the other 3 powerhouses of unknown origin aboard the black steel warship also focused on Yang Feng and flickered with an enigmatic light. Yang Feng glanced at the holographic projection and said with a faint smile, "Interesting. As expected of a divine legion, it's really powerful. Unfortunately, there are still too few of them." In an instant, 20 steel fleets were mobilized and quickly cruised towards the main battlefield. A rain of light fell from the sky and barreled towards the 4 fleets of the Morance Empire, the Titan Empire, the Beastman Empire, and the Elven Empire. Boom! 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 Amid the fearsome rain of light, one after another, the warships of the Morance Empire turned into fireballs and sank into the sea. The non-legendary battleships in the Titan Empire's fleet also turned into fireballs and sank to the bottom of the ocean under the artillery fire. The complexion of Cavrol, the leader of the Beastman Empire's fleet, changed, and he silently recited an incantation, took out a huge cyan shield, and threw it into the sky. The huge cyan shield expanded in the wind and turned into a terrifying shield that was over 100 meters tall. It firmly protected the Beastman Empire's warship. The leader of the Elven Empire, Fran, silently recited an incantation and pointed ahead with the emerald scepter in her hand. A brilliant law of nature surged and formed a huge tree that took root in the sea, absorbed a copious amount of seawater, and blocked in front of the Beastman Empire's fleet. The dense hail of railgun and positron beams slammed into the huge cyan shield like raindrops. The huge cyan shield only lasted for less than 30 seconds before cracking sound sounded, and a huge crack appeared on it. Even a Moonlight Warlock-ranked powerhouse with a level 6 secret treasure wouldn't dare to stand still and withstand the bombardment of railgun and positron beams. The huge cyan shield was a demigod-rank defensive treasure of the Beastman Empire, yet it could not withstand the almost endless artillery fire. Cavrol's face fell, and he roared wildly, "Run! Scatter and escape!" The legend-rank geniuses of the Beastman Empire fled from the warship like raindrops. Boom! With a blare, the huge cyan shield was blown apart, and a fearsome rain of light engulfed the flagship of the Beastman Empire and blasted it apart, and it slowly sank into the sea. The starry sky rippers flying at Mach 10 speed flew out of the clouds in the blink of an eye and pounced towards the legend-ranked powerhouses of the Beastman Empire like grim reapers reaping lives. A burly werewolf legend-rank expert with a pair of wolf ears and a pair of fierce eyes was holding a scimitar in his hand. There was a hurricane badge on his chest that was releasing a hurricane that lifted him into the air. Engines roaring, 6 starry sky rippers slashed towards the werewolf expert from 6 different directions with super high-frequency oscillation blades in their hands. The face of the werewolf expert changed dramatically. In midair, his body twisted slightly, and he brandished the blade in his hand, which turned into 6 blade images that slashed towards the 6 starry sky rippers. After images flashed by, and the werewolf legend rank powerhouse in midair was torn apart, turning into countless fragments that fell from the sky. When the 8 starry sky rippers pounced, a Lionman legend rank powerhouse was turned into countless pieces in midair and scattered on the ground. So long as the starry sky rippers pounced on the Beastman legend rank expert, they would be turned into countless pieces that scattered on the ground. The Beastman legend rank experts were not good at aerial combat. They could barely fly in the sky by relying on flight treasures. Starry Sky Rippers were speedy battle robots with terrifying fighting strength and fearless of death. In a one-on-one battle, the Beastman legend rank experts may not be their match. Moreover, the Starry Sky Rippers besieged a Beastman legend rank expert in groups of 6 or 8, and the Beastman legend rank expert would be killed in a single exchange. After Cavrill destroyed 2 Starry Sky Rippers with a huge wolf tooth club, he saw the legend rank experts of the Beastman Empire turn into pieces and fall from the sky. His eyes widened in anger, and he issued a shrill roar, "Stop!" Even though Cavrill roared wildly, the Starry Sky Rippers still coldly and mechanically killed the Beastman legend rank experts, and a mist of blood fell from the sky. Soon, only Cavrill remained in the sky, as well as a burly, handsome Lionman expert with short blonde hair and a monarch's aura, and a burly, Tigerman expert with a domineering aura and the character, King, on his forehead. The young Lionman expert was Odino, one of the strongest Lionman geniuses of this generation. The Tigerman expert was Avril, one of the strongest Tigerman geniuses of this generation. These 2 geniuses were God's darlings, blessed by the Beastman Divine System's gods. They were far stronger than other powerhouses of the same rank, and could even contend against Starry Sky Warlock rank powerhouses. Although Odino only had a legendary realm cultivation base, his combat power was terrifying. He was clad in black armor with a pair of wings made of magical metal on his back, allowing him to fly freely in the sky. With a great sword in hand, Starry Sky Rippers were chopped into countless pieces in the wake of sword rays. Avril was also wearing a similar golden armor and wielding a large blade. He used a domineering blade technique to cut the Starry Sky Rippers into countless pieces one after another. After all the Beastman legend rank powerhouses in the sky were killed, the Starry Sky Rippers immediately rushed towards Cavrill's group of 3. Even though Cavrill's group of 3 were comparable to demigod rank powerhouses in terms of battle prowess, but they still felt the pressure increase greatly, and were forced to retreat. By joining forces, the 3 barely resisted the siege of the Starry Sky Rippers coming from all directions. Just as Cavrill's group of 3 converged, the countless Starry Sky Rippers suddenly scattered. The muzzles of the 10 steel fleets rushing over from afar flashed, and countless light beams barreled towards Cavrill's group of 3. It's over. Cavrill's eyes shimmered with despair and regret. If he had known that this would happen, he would never have attacked Yang Feng. At the moment when the light beams were about to devour Cavrill's group of 3, a mysterious rune appeared on Odino's forehead. Boundless energy surged out of Odino's body and condensed into a domineering figure with golden eyes in the void, emitting a terrifying pressure. The expert with golden eyes and a pair of lion ears frowned slightly. He stretched his hand out, and the countless light beams distorted and shot in all directions. They couldn't harm the expert in the slightest. When Cavrill saw the mysterious powerhouse, his eyes filled with excitement. He knelt on the ground and said respectfully, "Greetings, my lord, the great beast god Arketh." The complexion of the always unruly Avril flickered, and he knelt on the ground, "Greetings, my lord, the great beast god Arketh." The lion god Arketh, also known as the beast god Arketh, was the only strong divine force rank god in the Beastman Empire as well as the sole divine monarch of the Beastman divine system. The beast god Arketh. The strong divine force rank god Arketh. The Beastman divine system's divine monarch actually took action in person. The legend rank powerhouses inhaled a breath of cold air, unable to believe their eyes. Strong divine force rank gods were even more terrifying than infinity warlocks. Even on the Tsangji plane, they were bigwigs among bigwigs, terrifying existences at the pinnacle of all life forms. Everyone was shocked that such a big shot had appeared here. Arkatha's projection shot Yang Feng an indifferent look and said frigidly, "Petty human warlock. Open the passage and surrender to me. I can forgive your sins. Otherwise, you will suffer eternal pain in the purgatory I set up." Chapter 439. Mighty beast god Sir Arkath, if it was your true body that came to this world, then I would be somewhat afraid of you. But you're just a mere projection. It's impossible for you to defeat me. Yang Feng's overbearing and unruly voice came from the sea. The Steel Fleet's battleships shone brightly, and countless beams shot towards the beast god Arkath like raindrops. The beast god Arkath casually waved his hand, and the beams of light were immediately directed to the side by his marvelous power. The beams that could even smash Moonlight warlocks were twisted by the beast god Arkath, displaying his pinnacle fighting skills and battle awareness. Even a Moonlight warlock rank expert might not be able to defeat the pinnacle demigod rank beast god Arkath's projection. The beast god Arkath was a strong divine force rank expert. If he used divine force, then his true body could even defeat an infinity warlock rank human warlock. Unless the battle demonic sect used the foundation passed down in the sect, it was not the beast god Arkath's opponent. He was such a powerful existence. When Yang Feng saw the fighting skills of the beast god Arkath's projection, he couldn't help but exclaim in admiration, as expected of the beast god Arkath, he's really powerful. Unable to use spatial force to deflect the various attacks into the space. Even if a Moonlight warlock stood still, when hit by the countless beams, they would be blasted apart. Glorious Dawn warlocks couldn't stand still for a long time to resist the bombardment of the various beams. Using the power of a demigod as well, the ancient white dragon was smashed into pieces in an instant. The beast god Arkath, on the other hand, was able to stand firmly in front of the three geniuses of the Beastman Empire. This was the gap between the two sides in terms of fighting skills. The aircraft carriers that were cruising in the sea kept moving, heading towards the battleground. Countless beams barreled towards the Elven fleet like raindrops. The blue tree in front of the Elven fleet collapsed under the bombardment of the countless beams, and turned into specks of blue light scattering in all directions. Just as the Elven powerhouses were about to be devoured by the rain of light, a jade pendant suddenly rose from the Elven genius, Doreen. A dazzling light flashed, and a beautiful girl with long silver hair, a curvaceous figure, wearing a green leaf armor, and a flower wreath suddenly appeared. A powerful divine aura emanated from her body. As soon as the fairy clan's goddess appeared, she lightly pointed with her jade-like hand and countless forests suddenly appeared, forming an incredibly beautiful forest that covered the entire region. The rain of light bombarded the forest, destroying all kinds of trees. In the next moment, the trees quickly regenerated, as if there was no end to them. Greetings, great forest goddess Sevilla. When the city powerhouses saw the enchanting goddess, they all prostrated themselves on the ground and respectfully said. The forest goddess Sevilla was a weak divine force rank deity. She was also a famous powerhouse among the elven gods. Sevilla frowned slightly in the face of the endless light beams. Her beautiful eyes flashed with a trace of strain. The speed at which the trees in the forest domain were destroyed was far faster than the speed at which they regenerated. At this rate, the forest domain would be destroyed in less than 5 minutes. After all, Sevilla was just a weak divine force rank god. When using the same power, she couldn't compare to the beast god Arkath. After all, she was just a projection that could use pinnacle demigod rank power. Yang Feng suddenly showed a smile and ordered indifferently, "Interesting. Steel fleets 60 to 70 attack the goddess of the forest Sevilla." In the sea, the 10 steel fleets that have just arrived at the battle zone flashed with countless warships, and shot towards the goddess of the forest Sevilla. Under the bombardment of countless beams, the forest domain of the forest goddess Sevilla suddenly trembled, and countless trees were destroyed, showing signs of collapsing at any time. An enigmatic gleam flashed in the eyes of the goddess of the forest Sevilla, and she sighed, "Ian, the Elven Empire is willing to leave this place." Please stop the attack. The words of the goddess of the forest Sevilla have just fallen, when the rain of light shooting towards the forest domain disappeared. The tyrannical battle elves treaded on air and quickly returned to the side of the goddess of the forest domain. Yang Feng's voice came from the endless sea. I don't want to be enemies with the elven gods. Please leave this place. You can withdraw. The goddess of the forest Sevilla glanced at the elven powerhouses, and then looked deeply into the distance. Then, her body collapsed and turned into countless rays of light and disappeared. The jade pendant also collapsed in midair. Fren gritted her teeth and said, "Let's go." The battle elves treaded on air and walked into the air. A huge divine country gate appeared in the void, and the battle elves with astonishing battle prowess entered the divine country one by one. With a wave of Fran's lily-white hand, a green leaf suddenly flew out, expanded in the wind, and turned into a 10-meter-long leaf boat. The elves jumped onto the leaf boat and walked into the distance, withdrawing from the fight for the Apple of Wisdom. As soon as the elven powerhouses left, the countless beams originally aimed at the elven powerhouses barreled towards the Morinth Empire's fleet. Boom! Boom! Under the bombardment of the countless beams, the warships of the Morinth Empire exploded. The remaining 12 legendary warships that rampaged through countless seas were blasted into pieces by the beams of the positron cannons and railgun cannons, and sank into the sea. Before they could engage the enemy, countless naval warriors of the Morinth Empire were killed and turned into corpses in the sea. The figures of the Morinth Empire's legend-rank powerhouses flickered, and they rushed towards the warship where the Radiant Temple's Vice-Pope Cobham was. No! Along with flashes of light, a handsome legend-rank young man with a magic sword in hand, who looked like he could enchant women with just a glance, issued a shrill scream in the face of the countless beams of light. A ray of light suddenly flashed between the beautiful young man's eyebrows. In the void, it condensed into a stunning beauty wearing a black mesh leather coat. She had dazzling blonde hair and a curvaceous figure. She exuded a coquettish aura from head to toe. This gorgeous woman exuding a coquettish aura was the goddess of joy of the Xalia divine system, Dorothy. She was the daughter of the radiant primary god Prados, and she had a flirtatious and licentious disposition. She liked beautiful boys and girls the most. Stop! As soon as Dorothy's projection appeared, she saw the countless beams of light barreling towards her. She screamed pitifully and raised her lily-white hand, and a pink scarf formed a pink barrier in front of her. Boom! When the rain of light slammed into the pink boundary was blasted apart. In a flash, the frightening rain of light engulfed Dorothy and the beautiful young man behind her. No! Along with Dorothy's shrill scream, the beautiful young man was blasted to pieces in an instant, and turned into countless fragments that scattered on the ground. In addition to the beautiful young man, there were 7 or 8 legend-rank powerhouses in the air that were blasted to pieces by the rain of light and fell into the sea. Face pale, Cobham opened a white barrier filled with endless light with a scepter in hand. It was the level 5 divine spell Radiant Wall. When the rain of light slammed into the Radiant Wall, it set off ripples. Every time Cobham resisted the bombardment of the rain of light, he would cough and spit out a mouthful of blood, and his complexion would turn paler. 20 archbishops of the Radiant Church silently recited an incantation to support the Radiant Wall. Every time Cobham spat blood, they would spit blood as well, and their complexions would turn paler. Onsai frowned slightly and barked, "Avalon, let's go kill Ian together." Onsai's Angel Corps and Avalon's Holy Spirit Corps had already destroyed 2 aircraft carrier battle groups, but if they continued to fight like this, then the fleets of the Morinth Empire and the Titan Empire would be torn to pieces by the artillery fire. The geniuses of the 2 empires would have no chance to enter the Golden Plain. The Apple of Wisdom was something that the gods of the Xalia and Titan pantheons were determined to get their hands on. Even the 2 divine legions had been dispatched. Naturally, they wouldn't give up. Okay. Avalon made a prompt decision. With the dragon spear in hand, he trod on air and shot towards Yang Feng. The Saint Legion followed Avalon and shot towards Yang Feng. Onsai, along with the huge Angel Legion, turned into white rays of light and shot towards Yang Feng. Yang Feng sighed slightly and said indifferently, "What a bunch of idiots. Kill them." A rain of light barreled towards the Saint Legion and the Angel Legion. The two legions desperately rushed into the midst of the numerous steel fleets, and were engulfed by the terrifying net of firepower woven by the Level 2 optical computer. At every moment, a large number of angels and demigod-ranked holy spirits were blasted to pieces. The tens of thousands of starry sky rippers were like meteors in the rain of light. They formed battle groups and blocked in front of the Holy Spirit Legion and Angel Corps, then fiercely collided with them. Chapter 440. The horde formed by the starry sky rippers revealed their fearsome might. No matter how the two peerless powerhouses Onsai and Avalon killed, the number of starry sky rippers didn't decrease. Moreover, the starry sky rippers, unafraid of death, slammed into them one after another. Even though they did their best to destroy one starry sky ripper after another, they still couldn't advance an inch. Countless beams of light barreled towards the Angel Legion and the Brave Legion from all directions. An angel's protective magic shield was bombarded by the countless beams of light, and it trembled slightly before directly collapsing. Countless beams of light slammed into her body, causing her body to explode, turning into countless fragments that scattered on the ground. A demigod heroic spirit assassin kept twisting his body, moving in a mysterious trajectory as he dodged one light beam after another. But the beams of light were too dense. As soon as he appeared, the beams of light slammed into him and blasted him apart. A rain of blood rained down from the sky. With every step the Angel Legion and Brave Legion took, a large number of angels and powerful braves would fall from the sky. Advancing almost at the cost of their lives, they looked like huge targets, extremely miserable. Onsai and Avalon each possessed Moonlight Warlock rank battle prowess, yet they still couldn't break through the siege of the starry sky rippers. When the countless starry sky rippers flew in front of Onsai and Avalon, they collapsed and turned into countless parts that scattered on the ground. So strong! Those golems are really strong. To be able to fight against 5 divine legions to this extent. Although the casualty ratio between the golems and the Angel Legion is 5:1, and the casualty ratio between the golems and the Brave Legion is as high as 40:1, but they're really strong. To think that there are existences that can contend against divine legions, how fearsome. The legend-rank powerhouses standing outside the perimeter of the Steel Fleet watched the battlefield from afar, their hearts filled with shock. The divine legions were the most powerful warriors of the gods, specialized in suppressing heretics and colonizing other planes. The fact that an angel had emerged from the divine kingdom before the planar tide had arrived was already a remarkable miracle. A heroic spirit walking out of the divine kingdom was enough for the Titan Empire to obtain victory after victory. Now, the Angel Corps and the Spirit Corps were fighting to the death. Even Avalon, who was comparable to a god and a legendary hero, was being forced into a difficult situation. One could imagine how terrifying the mechanical army was. Grace looked at the angels and heroic spirits being blasted into sieves on the holographic projector, and her beautiful eyes flashed with shock. So powerful! They can actually block the Divine Legion. What a terrifying mechanical legion! On the Black Steel warship, several strange passengers looked at the falling angels and heroic spirits in the holographic projection with a strange gleam in their eyes. The indifference and schadenfreude in their eyes had completely disappeared. Aboard the Morinth Empire's warship, Cobham struggled to support the level 5 divine spell radiant wall, constantly spitting blood, unable to utter a word. Yang Feng had more than 100 steel fleets under his command. 2 of the steel fleets were destroyed by the Angel Legion, the Brave Legion, and the Beast Emissary Legion. The remaining steel fleets rushed over while frantically attacking the Morinth Empire's fleet, the Beastman Empire's fleet, the Angel Legion, and the Brave Legion. A large number of starry sky rippers were locked in combat with the Beast Emissaries. At every moment, many starry sky rippers were destroyed by the Beast Emissaries. Similarly, from time to time, a Beast Emissary would be slain by the starry sky rippers. Under the almost endless artillery barrage, Cobham almost overdrafted his life force to maintain the level 5 divine spell radiant wall. Run! Cobham suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood and roared desperately. His skin contracted, countless wrinkles covered his face, and a grey aura of death extended from him. Before Cobham's words fell, streams of light ejected from the Morant's Empire's fleet and quickly fled in different directions. Cobham's body shook slightly, and he turned into dust that scattered in the wind. The figures of the archbishops behind Cobham also shook, and they turned into ashes and disappeared from this world. Even Moonlight Warlock-ranked powerhouses could hardly resist the attack of the steel fleets. Cobham and the archbishops behind him paid with their lives to barely block the artillery barrage for a while. The geniuses of the Morant's Empire had just ejected from the fleet, when countless beams of light enveloped them. One after another, the tyrannical legend-ranked powerhouses of the Morant's Empire were blasted apart by the beams of light and turned into fragments that fell from midair. In less than a minute, only a young man dressed in a snow-white armor remained among the legend-ranked powerhouses of the Morant's Empire. His figure was like a ghost as he shuttled back and forth amidst the artillery barrage. Even though some of the artillery barrage hit him, it was blocked by his white armor. The young man dressed in a snow-white armor was the hidden peerless genius of the Morant's Empire, Planus, a god's darling of the radiant primary god. The engines of 200 starry sky rippers rumbled as they flew towards Planus like meteors. After a few breaths of time, they surrounded the young man from all directions. 10 starry sky rippers rushed towards Planus from all angles and brandished their super overclocking oscillation blades, completely sealing off all of Planus's space of activity. A resplendent light imprint suddenly appeared on Planus' forehead, and a vast divine might diffused from his body. The projection of radiant god King Praetos, who was enveloped in endless light and would be blinded by the light from a single glance, suddenly appeared. Faced with the 200 starry sky rippers rushing towards him, the radiant primary god Praetos slowly spread open his right hand, and a resplendent beam of light burst out and engulfed the 200 starry sky rippers in an instant. Boom! Boom! Illuminated by the pure light, the starry sky rippers were blown to pieces and turned into countless parts. Light full of the power of distortion suddenly appeared around Praetos. When the beams of light formed from artillery fire slammed into the distorted light shield, they ricocheted and shot into the surroundings. Radiant primary god Praetos. That's the radiant primary god. When the legend-ranked powerhouses hiding aside saw the radiant primary god Praetos, they inhaled a breath of cold air and their eyes filled with shock. The radiant primary god Praetos was the strongest expert of the Fesua plane, and his strength was unfathomable. In the battle of the gods, not a single god had defeated him in a one-on-one battle. Even the strongest god of war Amigo of the Titan pantheon had been defeated by him. Similarly, the beast god Archith of the Beastman pantheon had been defeated by him in a one-on-one fight. On the Fesua plane, the radiant primary god Praetos was recognized as the god most likely to break through the limit and advance to the mighty divine force rank. Aboard the Black Steel warship, when Yang Feng saw the projection of the radiant primary god Praetos, his eyes narrowed. Radiant primary god Praetos. The radiant primary god Praetos was a pinnacle strong divine force rank existence. Even infinity warlocks were not his opponent. On the Fesua plane, even a warlock monarch rank powerhouse might not be his opponent. Even if such a fearsome powerhouse only used pinnacle demigod rank power, he would still be terrifyingly powerful. Heretics of the Tsangji plane, perish under the divine judgment. A cold look in his eyes, the projection of the radiant primary god Praetos pointed at the sky, and his golden eyes shimmered with indifference, as if he was stating a truth. In the blink of an eye, the sky was enveloped by endless light. Sink! Yang Feng's complexion changed dramatically, and he barked. The Black Steel warship quickly deformed, and a large amount of steel extended and formed a huge steel shield. At the same time, the warship dived rapidly. Countless mechanical shield troops rose into the air, activated powerful shields, and raised their shields. After the more than 100,000 mechanical shield troops activated their shields, they quickly formed a 500-layered mechanical canopy that enveloped the Black Steel warship. A white beam of light 500 meters in diameter, filled with pure radiance, barreled towards the warship. Under the bombardment of the white beam, the shields of the mechanical shield troops collapsed in an instant, and the mechanical shield troops vaporized. After the fearsome white beam pierced through 500 layers of mechanical shield troops, its power finally declined to the extreme. When it slammed into the black steel warship's steel shield, it collapsed and dissipated. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the black steel warship dived into the depths of the sea. It was blocked. That divine judgment was blocked. The radiant primary god Prados' divine judgment was blocked. This is simply heaven-defying. When the legend rank powerhouses saw this scene, their eyes shimmered with astonishment. Divine Judgment was a radiant divine spell that required the radiant primary god Prados to consume a lot of divine force. Since the radiant primary god Prados became the god king of the Xalia pantheon, his divine judgment was unstoppable. Many darkness gods were instantly turned into ashes by his divine judgment. Now that Yang Feng blocked the divine judgment, everyone was naturally shocked. Chapter 441. The radiant primary god Prados frowned slightly. He pondered for a while, and didn't launch the second divine judgment. Divine judgment could appear anywhere on the Fesua plane except in a few forbidden areas. However, divine judgment consumed a tremendous amount of divine force. A divine judgment cost more than 50,000 divine force crystals. If there was no planar tide, then the radiant primary god Prados wouldn't have to spend any divine force. As long as his true body arrived, he could squash Yang Feng with a finger. Shielding Planus behind him, the radiant primary god Prados walked towards the black steel warship. Beams of light barreling towards the radiant primary god Prados were strangely distorted by the layer of distorted light around him and shot aside. He didn't have to block them. Instead, he used his power to deflect the beams. Only strong divine force rank gods like the radiant primary god Prados and the beast god Arkath, who have climbed up step by step from the bottom, could possess such frightening fighting skills. Even among Moonlight Warlocks and Glorious Dawn Warlocks, few could deflect railgun beams and positron beams with pinnacle demigod rank power. Yang Feng glanced curiously at the Titan Empire's fleet, and a strange thought suddenly streaked across his mind. If I focus fire on the Titan Empire's fleet, will I draw out God of War Amigo and the others? Countless starry sky rippers rushed towards the radiant primary god Prados like a tide. The radiant primary god Prados spread the fingers of his hand, and beams of light shot out from his right hand and slammed into the starry sky rippers as if they had a life of their own. The energy shields of the starry sky rippers were easily pierced through, and then turned into fireworks and exploded in midair. Boom! Boom! The sound of huge explosions rang incessantly. In the sea, light shone, and countless starry sky rippers exploded. After the radiant primary god Prados passed by, the steel fleet was pierced through by countless white beams of light and exploded. Amidst the rain of light, the radiant primary god Prados strolled through the mechanical legion. Countless beams of light shot out from his right hand and scattered in the sky and on the ground. Wherever the light shone, a fireball would rise. The countless beams of light from the fleet of aircraft carriers landed on Prados, but they were distorted by his protective light and shot to one side. It was enough to make people feel despair. So strong. So powerful. As expected of the most powerful god of the Fesua plane. The legendary powerhouses who were hiding at the side gasped when they saw this scene. The legendary powerhouses had already seen the power of the aircraft carrier fleet in that area. Even the projection of the forest goddess, who was at the pinnacle of the demigod realm, was unable to hold on for long. She gave in and left. Radiant primary god Prados also used peak demigod strength, but he had already annihilated over 200,000 starry sky rippers and 6 carrier fleets without suffering any damage. Radiant primary god Prados suddenly stopped. His eyes flickered with majestic golden light, and he uttered indifferently, "Zhangji Plains heretic, I admire you very much. If you are willing to submit to me and work for me, I can spare your life. I'll also let you keep these mechanical golems. At the same time, I'll give you a godhead and let you become a god." Become a god. That human warlock was fancied by the radiant primary god Prados. The eyes of the surrounding legend-rank powerhouses shimmered with envy. Behind these legend-rank powerhouses hid powerful existences, many of which were comparable to gods in strength. Their greatest wish was to become a true god of the Feisua plane. As long as Yang Feng agreed to the conditions of the radiant primary god Prados, he would be able to become a god. Such a recruitment condition moved the hearts of the surrounding legend-ranked powerhouses. Mighty radiant primary god Prados, you don't have to persuade me. I just want to rely on my own strength to become a god. Besides, I admit that you are very strong. If your true body or a clone came here, you should be able to kill me. However, you are only a projection, and you can display less than 1/10,000,000th of your true body's strength. You don't have the strength to kill me. Yang Feng's calm analysis came from above the sea. A large number of space disruptors reverberated in various places and cast spatial interference spells, making it impossible for the radiant primary god Prados to use spatial spells to appear in front of Yang Feng in a flash. If the radiant primary god Prados' true body came here, then even if he only possessed pinnacle demigod rank strength, he could still display terrifying battle prowess with the help of the boundless divine force. It wouldn't be impossible for him to kill Yang Feng. However, once the radiant primary god Prados' true body came to the Feisua plane, he would no longer be an invincible strong divine force rank god, but a demigod with battle prowess comparable to a god. While he was virtually invincible in the secular world, he also gave other existences a chance to kill him. Intermediate divine force rank gods and above basically wouldn't use their true bodies to walk in the secular world during the planar tide. They would only come to the secular world in the form of avatars or projections. The power that a projection could display in the secular world was limited. Depending on the object carrying the power that the projection could display and the duration of its existence were different. The power of this projection is enough to kill you. The eyes of the radiant primary god Prados shimmered with frigid killing intent, and he pointed backward, and Planus behind him turned into a stream of light shooting into the distance. In a breath of time, Planus disappeared from everyone's eyes. The radiant primary god Prados blurred into motion, operated the law of light, turned into a pure ray of light, crossed a great distance, entered the sea in an instant, and appeared in front of the black steel warship. Along the way, more than 1,000,000 starry sky rippers could not stop the radiant primary god Prados. They could only watch helplessly as he passed through countless companions and arrived in front of the black steel warship. Among the many strong divine force rank gods of the Feisua plane, the radiant primary god Prados was the fastest. The radiant primary god Prados waved his hand, and blades of light cut the black steel warship's protective wall into countless pieces, which entered the warship along with the seawater. Even though it was only a projection, the radiant primary god Prados, who didn't need a guardian, was still despairingly powerful. When they saw the radiant primary god Prados, Grace, and the 4 passengers of suspicious origin immediately dodged aside. Arlette blocked in front of Yang Feng with the legendary spear in her hand, and her beautiful eyes flickered with scorching fighting spirit. "Stand down, Arlette!" With a stern shout, Yang Feng stood up from the seat of honor, walked down, and gazed at the radiant primary god Prados with a dignified look in his eyes. Arlette replied respectfully and retreated to the side. "Yes, sir. Your Majesty." The eyes of the radiant primary god Prados shimmered with gold light, and he took a step forward and slowly pointed at Yang Feng with a finger. Boundless radiance instantly shone from that finger. In an instant, boundless radiance blossomed from that finger, as if it had evolved into a sun. Enveloped by the sun-like light, the surrounding space was completely locked. It seems that only this finger remained in the world. Ah! Help! The eyes of the demigod rank abyssal fiend Rick only glanced at the finger before exploding, and he let out an incomparably shrill scream. The finger, which contained the mysteries of the radiant divine domain and gathered all the power of the projection of the radiant primary god Prados, seemed to have evolved into a sun and crushed towards Yang Feng. There was no way to avoid it. Even if it was a moonlight warlock-ranked powerhouse, they would die without any chance of survival. A feeling of despair welled up in Yang Feng's mind, as if he was powerless to struggle in the face of this peerless finger. He shouldn't struggle, he should just die in despair. Amazing! It can even affect my state of mind. How fearsome! As expected of a strong divine force rank god who is even more powerful than infinity warlocks. The decadent state of mind only appeared for a moment before Yang Feng's life force revolved, and he recovered. Eyes surging with fighting spirit, he frantically extracted wisps of world force from the semi-plane in his sea of knowledge. With a roar, like a frantically struggling transcendent god, he unleashed the secret method Great Primal Chaos Annihilation Fist recorded in the Primal Chaos imperishable body and sent a punch barreling towards the sun. A chaotic aura, as if the world had just been created, suddenly rose in this space. A fist that seemed to contain endless mysteries stretched out from the world, and with a pressure that seemed to be able to split the world apart, it smashed into the sun. Boom! Accompanied by an earth-shattering boom, the fist was directly crushed by the sun. The entire black steel warship shook violently. As if a broken rag doll, Yang Feng was sent flying. With blood sputtering from every part of his body, he slammed into the black steel warship, smashed through the outer armor of the warship and entered the warship's hull. Amid continuous blare, Yang Feng pierced through 13 layers of the black steel warship's armor before he was stopped by the 14th layer of the inner armor. I survived. Amidst horrified gazes, Yang Feng, covered in blood, staggered out of the cabin and showed an unruly smile to the radiant primary god Prados. Chapter 442. An expressionless face, the projection of the radiant primary god Prados collapsed and turned into countless motes of light that disappeared. After all, the power of a projection was limited. If the radiant primary god Prados clone had arrived, he could have killed Yang Feng with another blow. However, this projection could only seriously injure Yang Feng. This was the huge gap between a projection and a clone. Strange gazes focused on Yang Feng. The eyes of the 4 unknown passengers flickered with a queer glint, and traces of killing intent flashed past their eyes. When the projection of the radiant primary god Prados pointed with all his strength, even if it was a feeble divine force rank god, they would be seriously injured or even killed. For a mere legend rank powerhouse like Yang Feng to be able to withstand a blow from the radiant primary god Prados was simply incredible. He was definitely a great enemy of all powerhouses who wanted to snatch the apple of wisdom. Naturally, killing intent arose in people's hearts. Countless sea hunters swam out of the sea and formed frightening shoals around Yang Feng, staring covetously at the 4 unknown passengers. When the 4 unknown passengers saw the frightening shoals, their hearts sank, and they realized that they had missed the best opportunity. Yang Feng glanced at the 4 unknown passengers with an enigmatic smile, then took out a vial of precious elixir and downed it. Once he drank that bottle of incomparably precious potion, a warm current quickly flowed within Yang Feng's body, nourishing his injured body. Retreat! When the projection of the radiant primary god Prados collapsed, Ansai's pretty face flickered, and she promptly ordered. With that, the Angel Legion turned around, forcibly opened a bloody path in the rear of the Starry Sky Rippers, and fled in a sorry state. The Starry Sky Rippers didn't pursue Ansai's Angel Legion, but surrounded Avalon's Brave Legion and attacked frantically. When Ansai led the Angel Legion to flee, the pressure on Avalon's Brave Legion increased several-fold. Among the Mechanical Legion, 1 or 2 Braves died at every moment. Avalon's face was ferocious. Like a wounded beast, he let out a shrill roar, "Damn bitch!" Every time the Einherjars and the Einherjar Legion were killed, their souls would be weakened. If they were killed too many times, they would be completely obliterated. Even in the Divine Kingdom, they would not be able to be reborn. On the Fesua plane, unless their souls were imprisoned by a vicious spell, divine legions of gods would return to their divine countries after death, and then be reborn under the divine spells of the gods. But every time they were reborn, their souls would be weakened. Once they died too many times, they would completely collapse and disappear from this world. In addition, some artifacts and spells with soul attack characteristics could also kill the soldiers of the Divine Legion when they died in battle. Avalon was truly brave and fierce. His dragon spear was ever-changing. Wherever the spear's shadow passed, countless Starry Sky Rippers were crushed. Not a single Starry Sky Ripper could withstand a single blow from him. But the Starry Sky Rippers were practically endless. The more Avalon killed, the more Starry Sky Rippers there were. All kinds of beams of light appeared and disappeared mysteriously, bombarding the Einherjars behind Avalon and killing the demigod-rank Einherjars with demigod-rank battle prowess. The Einherjars withered at a speed visible to the naked eye. A number of aircraft carrier fleets moved over, surrounding the Einherjars. It was obvious that they wanted to wipe out the Einherjars here. Seeing this, Ventox's face flickered, and he shouted, "Stop, Ian. We can leave this place." Avalon was a Einherjar with feeble divine force rank battle prowess, and his fighting potential was enormous. Although the Apple of Wisdom was extremely valuable, but it might not be as valuable as Avalon. With the endless mechanical legion blocking the way, the Titan Empire had little hope of obtaining the Apple of Wisdom. Ventox didn't want Avalon to die here. Avalon had not died yet, and his potential was enormous. If he died here, his evolution potential would be weakened by more than 30%. In the Black Steel warship, when Yang Feng heard this, he pondered for a while, and then said, "Let them go." The Starry Sky Rippers fighting the Einherjars dispersed in an instant, revealing the Einherjars. At this time, there were less than 10 Einherjars left. Avalon, who led the Einherjars, was injured, and blood dripped from his body. Yet his expression was undaunted, and his eyes flickered with scorching fighting spirit. The eyes of the other Einherjars also flickered with scorching fighting spirit, showing no fear. Yang Feng looked at the heroic Einherjars and couldn't help but exclaim in admiration, as expected of a Einherjars composed of countless legend Einherjars. "Let's go." Avalon looked in Yang Feng's direction, then turned around and landed on the Titan Empire's warship with the remaining 7 Einherjars. The Titan Empire's warship turned around and quickly retreated. When the Einherjars retreated, countless Starry Sky Rippers pounced on the Beast Emissaries. The Beast Emissaries had just destroyed the 4th Steel Fleet, when they were besieged by countless Starry Sky Rippers. At every moment, Beast Emissaries were torn to pieces by the Starry Sky Rippers. The Beast God Arketh frowned and said solemnly, "Stop. Ian. I think we can have a good talk." Yang Feng raised his eyebrows and said indifferently, "Stop." The countless Starry Sky Rippers flew away, and the Beast Emissaries flickered into motion and returned to the Beast God Arketh's side. The Beast God Arketh said solemnly, "Ian, the Apple of Wisdom is very important to me. If you're willing to give it to me, I can give you a weak divine force rank godhead. As long as there were enough divine force crystals, a weak divine force rank godhead could create a weak divine force rank god with glorious dawn warlock rank battle prowess." Yang Feng said unhurriedly, "Great beast god, the Apple of Wisdom is equally important to me. I can't give it to others. Even someone as great as you is no exception." Yang Feng's goal wasn't just a weak divine force rank god. Once he could swallow the Apple of Wisdom, his cultivation talent would be able to draw closer to that of freakish geniuses like Shi Shuai. Otherwise, even if he embarked on the strongest warlock path, his cultivation speed would be as slow as a snail. What a pity. The beast god Arketh took a deep look at Yang Feng, sighed slightly, and said indifferently, "Let's go." With that, the projection of the beast god Arketh collapsed and disappeared. The messengers of the beast deity protected Cavril and the rest as they flew into the distance. Of the 5 divine legions, only the sea guards were left fighting Yang Feng's sea hunters in the sea. Although the sea guards were astonishingly powerful, but Yang Feng's sea hunters formed a shoal of more than 100,000 fish and rushed towards the sea guards wave after wave. The sea god's guards had to gather together and jointly cast spells, forming huge whirlpools to barely resist the attacks of the sea hunters. From time to time, the huge whirlpools would be torn apart by the sea hunters. Whenever the sea hunters pounced, a sea guard would be pounced on and torn to pieces. It was only a matter of time before the sea guards were completely devoured by the sea hunters. The merfolk army commanded by the mermaid empress Brihea clashed with the merfolk army commanded by the Naga empress. The sea churned, and countless merfolk corpses rose to the surface. Yang Feng glanced at the holographic projection and quickly made a judgment: in about 2 hours, the sea guards will be wiped out. The passengers aboard the Black Steel warship stared at the holographic projection with an enigmatic gleam in their eyes. When the 5 divine legions arrived in this part of the sea, they were still defeated by Yang Feng and suffered heavy casualties. This kind of fighting strength was far beyond the imagination of the 4 passengers of unknown origin. Suddenly, a golden light rose from the rear of the Black Steel warship. The golden light shone on the sea behind the Black Steel warship, forming a beautiful golden territorial region. Yang Feng was taken aback. Now, the timing of the Golden Strait's appearance was far beyond Yang Feng's expectations. According to the information provided by Faldina, the Golden Strait shouldn't open until a few days later. Yang Feng's heart shook slightly. Fortunately, I waited here a long time in advance. Otherwise, I would have missed this great opportunity. The Black Steel warship quickly floated to the surface of the sea, and then flew towards the Golden Strait. The engines of countless starry sky rippers rumbled as they flew towards the Golden Strait. As soon as they entered the Golden Strait, starry sky rippers, space disruptors, and other battle robots flying in the sky fell from the sky due to a mysterious force, and sank to the bottom of the sea. When Yang Feng saw this scene, his heart shook slightly. The Golden Strait's no-fly domain is really extraordinary. The Time Lord set up many formidable restrictions in the Golden Strait. Even strong divine force rank gods would be weakened to the great warlock rank after entering this domain. No existence could fly in the sky. Because of this, the 4 great empires had sent many powerful fleets to this region of the sea. Golden Strait. The Golden Strait has appeared. When the powerhouses surrounding the aircraft carrier fleet saw the Golden Territorial Sea region, their eyes flashed with excitement. Their figures flashed and they frantically flew in the direction of the Golden Territorial Sea region. Chapter 443. The densely packed starry sky rippers and space disruptors descended from the sky and clashed with the legend-rank powerhouses, slaughtering them in a frenzy. The transcendent projections behind the legend-rank powerhouses were forced out one by one, and then crushed under the siege of the endless battle robots. The entire region of the sea fell into a state of chaos and fierce battles. Some legend-rank powerhouses without a backer could only stand on the periphery of the sea and watch the countless powerhouses fighting inside. Grace glanced at the sea shrouded in golden light, her beautiful eyes sparkled, and she said with a charming smile, "In the past, the Golden Strait was the place where the fighting was the most intense. I didn't expect it to be so peaceful this time. It's all thanks to you, Your Majesty Ian." The gazes of Cecilia and the other 3 passengers with extraordinary backgrounds focused on Yang Feng, and an enigmatic gleam flashed past their eyes. In the past, every time the apple of wisdom ripened, it would attract countless powerhouses, and they would fight endlessly from the sea outside to the Golden Strait, and then from the Golden Strait to the Golden Plain. This time, Yang Feng released countless battle robots and forcibly blocked the countless powerhouses outside the Golden Strait. This accomplishment was simply heaven-defying. The Feisua Plains Apple of Wisdom was destined to fall into the hands of human warlocks when the 8 warlock dynasties awed the world. The rest of the time, the Apple of Wisdom was very unpredictable. But this time, the Apple of Wisdom was destined to fall into the hands of these few people. The speed of the Black Steel warship was pushed to the limit. After sailing in the Golden Territorial region for 3 hours, a golden plane shrouded in golden light appeared in front of everyone. The flowers, plants, and trees were shrouded in a layer of golden light, exuding a sacred aura. In the center of the golden plain, there was a 9,000-meter-tall golden apple tree towering into the sky and emitting bright light. This golden apple tree was recognized as the most precious treasure of the Feisua Plain, the Apple of Wisdom tree. Every 30,000 years, the Apple of Wisdom tree would bear an apple of wisdom. Those who got an apple of wisdom, as long as they didn't die, would at least become weak divine force rank gods. There are even warlock emperor rank powerhouses among them. Everyone on the Black Steel warship looked at the Apple of Wisdom tree with a burning look in their eyes. When the Black Steel warship was 20 kilometers away from the Golden Plain, one after another, bladed troops, space disruptors and other primary battle robots climbed onto the deck from all directions. The 20 steel fleets guarding the Black Steel warship quickly surrounded them, forming a huge steel warship island. Seeing this scene, Grace, Cecilia, and the other 3 unknown passengers frowned and stared at Yang Feng, traces of an unclear premonition welling up inside them. The passenger shrouded in darkness said in a hoarse voice, "Ian, what do you mean by this?" Yang Feng smiled faintly and looked at Grace and the three unknown passengers, saying, "I'm determined to get the Apple of Wisdom. I won't give you any chance to compete with me for the Apple of Wisdom. The agreement between you and me is only limited to letting you enter the Golden Strait, but it doesn't include setting foot on the Golden Plain." The powerhouse covered in a cyan cloak said coldly, "We have given you 30,000 divine force crystals, yet you're not even willing to give us a chance to compete fairly?" Yang Feng said lightly, "Although the effect of the gold grasses and gold flowers on the Golden Plain can't compare to that of the Apple of Wisdom, but they are still first-rate treasures that can increase wisdom. You can pick them one by one. After I pick the Apple of Wisdom, I'll let you go ashore and pick some flowers and plants. Actually, there's another way. That is to capture you, use you as a hostage, and pick the Apple of Wisdom." The eyes of the passenger shrouded in darkness shimmered fiercely, and endless shadows gushed out of him in a flash and formed a queer shadow divine domain that enveloped everyone on the black steel warship. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with vigilance. "This is the shadow divine domain." "That's right, Ian, I am the Shadow Prince Mecha of the Darkness Gods, and this is my shadow divine domain. I know that you're very strong, but in front of my true body, you who haven't comprehended a law can't withstand a single blow." A strange and ethereal voice came from all directions and poured directly into Yang Feng's mind, making it impossible to distinguish the source of the voice. The Shadow Prince Mecha's shadow divine domain was 100 times stronger than Zhong Sunan's darkness domain, giving off a strange feeling of space-time distortion, chaos, and annihilation of the senses. This was the power of a divine domain. Interesting. Shadow divine domain. Let me break it. Yang Feng's eyes surged with fighting spirit, and vast spatial fluctuations suddenly erupted and formed a spatial domain that forcibly carved out an area with a radius of 2 meters from the shadow divine domain. This was already his limit. A divine domain was a terrifying existence that evolved from a domain that only gods could comprehend. Although the Shadow Prince Mecha was only a feeble divine force rank god, but his true body was here. Even if he only used great warlock rank power, his comprehension of laws was far superior to Yang Feng's. Spatial domain. Amazing, Ian, to be able to comprehend the most difficult to comprehend law of space, that's really amazing. Unfortunately, you're just an ordinary person after all. In front of gods, all mortals are as lowly as ants. A sigh sounded, and 10 shadow assassins with indistinct faces emerged from the shadow domain. Holding a dark blue dagger in their hands, they suddenly erupted and stabbed at Yang Feng from 10 different directions. 9 fakes and 1 real. No, they're all fake, but they're all real. When Yang Feng saw the 10 shadow assassins walk out of the shadows, his heart shook slightly. He took a step forward, unleashed the demonic fighting fist art, and punched the 10 shadow assassins 10 times in a row, smashing them to pieces. Ian, you like to use countless golems to consume the enemy's strength and besiege them. I like it the same way. Try your best to kill all my shadow assassins. An ethereal and eerie laughter reverberated in the area. The shadow divine domain squirmed, and one shadow assassin after another shot out of the shadow divine domain. As if they had a life of their own, the shadow assassins stabbed at Yang Feng from tricky corners. Unleashing the demonic fighting fist art, Yang Feng, like a tyrannical transcendent with a tyrannical fleshly body, shattered the shadow assassins with legend-ranked battle prowess one after another. Once the shadow assassins were shattered, they would enter the shadow divine domain. Within a few breaths of time, they would reappear and attack Yang Feng. Amazing! That's a god's true body for you. If you were at your peak and operated the shadow divine domain with god-rank power, I might have been insta-killed by you. Unfortunately, you're too weak right now. A fierce glint in his eyes, Yang Feng extracted a wisp of world force from the semi-plane in his sea of knowledge, exuded primal chaos aura, took a step, and the black steel warship shook. He unleashed the primal chaos annihilation fist and punched out. A frightening force containing the law of the world gushed out in an instant and tore the shadow divine domain apart. Under that punch, the law of the shadow collapsed, the shadow divine domain collapsed, and the world regained its brightness. The Shadow Prince Mecha hidden in the Shadow Divine Domain flew out of the void and spewed out a mouthful of gold blood. He looked at Yang Feng with shock in his eyes. How is this possible? How could you break my Shadow Divine Domain? You're just a great warlock. How could you break my Shadow Divine Domain? Even among feeble divine force rank gods, the Shadow Prince Mecha was one of the most fearsome ones. There were even several weak divine force rank gods who were seriously injured by his sneak attacks. For the sake of the Apple of Wisdom, his true body came. On the Feisua Plain, few people with great warlock rank strength could defeat him. It's very simple, it's because I walk the strongest warlock path. Yang Feng smiled faintly, took a step forward, crossed hundreds of meters with this step, appeared in front of the Shadow Prince Mecha, and sent a primal chaos annihilation fist barreling towards the Shadow Prince Mecha. The Shadow Prince Mecha's face fell. He screamed, and his body collapsed and turned into 10 shadows that shot in different directions lightning fast. Shadow Clone Art. This was the strongest life-saving spell the Shadow Prince Mecha grasped. Each of the 10 shadows was his true body. As long as one of them escaped, he could be reborn. The Shadow Clone Art allowed the Shadow Prince Mecha to escape death at least 30 times. This was the reason why he dared to come to this world with his true body. Yang Feng smiled coldly. The primal chaos annihilation fist changed slightly, and a vast and frightening attractive force emerged from his fist. Like a huge whirlpool, in violation of the law of physics, the 10 shadows were forcibly pulled over, and the fist slammed into the 10 shadows. A frightening force erupted in a flash and shattered the 10 shadows, leaving only a 2-finger-sized, pitch-black shadow godhead on the ground. Chapter 444. Dead. The Shadow Prince died just like that. The peerless genius from the country of dragons, Cecilia, was dumbfounded when she saw this scene. She covered her mouth with her hands and almost cried out. Faldina was also stupefied, her cherry lips parted slightly, and her beautiful eyes flickered with incredulity. The Shadow Prince, a true god, died just like that. Although the Shadow Prince Mecha was a feeble divine force rank god, but he was a very active god in the darkness divine system. More than 5 weak divine power level gods had died in his hands, and several weak divine power level gods had been assassinated and severely injured by him. There was even a weak divine power rank god who had fallen because of him. In the eyes of the gods, the Shadow Prince Mecha was even more troublesome to deal with than some weak divine force rank gods. Because he was extremely cunning, even intermediate divine force rank gods could easily defeat him, but would find it difficult to kill him. For such a true god to be blown up by Yang Feng with a punch was simply appalling. However, because Arlette was born in a backward place like the Black Dragon country, she didn't know what the Shadow Prince represented. She just felt that the master she served was extremely powerful, as he killed the peerless enemy the Shadow Prince with a single blow. On the Feisua Plain, in an underground secret room of a huge villa, hundreds of believers of the Shadow Church dressed in grey robes and strange masks prostrated themselves on the ground and devoutly recited prayers. A lifelike idol sat in the center of the secret room. It was the Shadow Prince Mecha. A high priest knelt in front of the idol and devoutly recited prayers while presiding over the prayer. Crack! An ear-piercing crack sounded in the secret room. The high priest kneeling on the ground sensed that the connection between him and the Shadow Prince Mecha was cut off. Filled with fear, he raised his head, and his face turned ashen, his body trembled, his mood surged, and 2 streams of blood flowed from his eyes. His voice died away. The believers of the Shadow Church couldn't hear the high priest's prayers, so they all raised their heads in confusion. In the next moment, everyone's eyes flashed with fear. The idol of the Shadow Prince Mecha enshrined in the center of the altar cracked from the middle and split in 2. It broke. My lord, I can't sense my lord. Could it be that my master has already fallen? Impossible. How could my master have fallen? The despairing cries of the Shadow Church's believers rang in the secret chamber. The statue in this secret chamber had been worshipped by the believers of the Shadow Church for more than 5,000 years. Under the nourishment of the power of faith, the statue was invulnerable and impervious to fire and water. It was no longer an ordinary object and had established a close connection with the Shadow Prince, Mecha. Now that the statue had shattered without any external help, there was only one possibility, and that was that the god they worshipped had fallen. Such scenes occurred in secret places throughout the Feisua Plain. The priests of the Shadow Church were horrified to find that their connection with the gods had disappeared. They could no longer use any divine spells, not even a first-level one. The hearts of the Shadow Church's believers were filled with panic and despair, as if the end of the world had arrived. In a dark divine kingdom that was shrouded in darkness, with only a few candles illuminating that world, a dark god lying among countless beauties opened his eyes. His voice was low and full of curiosity as he said, "Mecha, that guy has fallen. Who killed him?" In a divine country where the sun was shining brightly and the flowers were fragrant, handsome men and beautiful women danced beautifully everywhere, and the whole world was brimming with joy. A beautiful goddess with long blonde hair, a fiery and sexy figure, twin peaks nearly bursting out of her clothes, and a mixture of innocence, maturity, charm, innocence, and other temperaments, suddenly smiled, clapped her hands, and said full of joy, "That son of a bitch Mecha is finally dead. Sister SX's death was finally avenged. He didn't know who killed that bastard. I really have to thank him." Sensing the changes in the secular world, the gods opened their eyes and used the power of their godhead to search for the truth of Mecha's death. The death of the Shadow Prince Mecha and the changes that occurred to the Shadow Church shook the gods of the Feisua Plain. A sense of crisis welled up in the hearts of the gods of the Feisua Plain. On the Black Steel Warship, after Yang Feng killed the Shadow Prince Mecha with a punch, he beckoned with his hand, and the godhead of the Shadow Prince entered his hand. He glanced around. He saw that only Faldina and Cecilia were left on the Black Steel Warship. Grace had already dived into the golden territorial waters. The expert in a cyan cloak was standing on a small tortoiseshell ship, while the beautiful woman with long purple hair and a sexy figure was standing on a leaf boat formed from a huge leaf, and they swam towards the golden plain. Yang Feng glanced at the three people, and his eyes shimmered with ridicule. Sure enough, they all have great backgrounds. For Grace and the other two to be able to break free from Mecha's shadow divine domain, they must have some special treasures, or they themselves were stronger than Mecha. The Apple of Wisdom even alarmed bigwigs like the Radiant Primary God and the Beast God, who were at the pinnacle of the Feisua Plain, didn't hesitate to send divine legions and projections to seize the Apple of Wisdom. It was not unusual for a god like Mecha to personally take action. Although gods were far more powerful than other existences, but it was extremely difficult for them to advance to a higher rank. Unless they could obtain the godhead of a higher rank god, it was extremely difficult to advance to a higher rank god by relying on their own comprehension of laws. Only a divine object like the Apple of Wisdom could increase the wisdom of god-rank powerhouses and allow them to advance further. Yang Feng ordered coldly, "Destroy their ships." At this moment, the sexy woman with long purple hair turned her head slightly, showed Yang Feng a charming smile, and closed her lily-white hands. With the Black Steel Warship as the center, countless transparent threads sliced in all directions. Containing the law of sharpness and divine force of darkness, the transparent threads were comparable to god armaments in terms of sharpness. The Black Steel Warship and the surrounding steel fleets formed warship islands crumbled and turned into countless steel chunks that slowly sank into the sea. Yang Feng frowned slightly, then his figure flickered, and he stepped on the steel chunks, leaped towards another warship, and said solemnly, "Silk, divine force of darkness. You're the queen of spiders Lolth." In the vast universe, among the 36 primary material planes, there were many powerhouses who could use silk like god armaments. However, on the Feisua Plain, there was only one person who could use silk and divine force of darkness to this extent, and that was the intermediate divine force rank Queen of Spiders Lolth. The Queen of Spiders Lolth threw Yang Feng a coquettish look and said with an unrestrained smile, "That's right, handsome. Give me the Apple of Wisdom, will you? As long as you're willing to give me the Apple of Wisdom, I'll invite you to my divine country to have some fun. You can play with any of the goddesses of the Dark Elven divine system you want. I can also help you catch them and let you have some fun with them." Starting from the Queen of Spiders Lolth, there were no chaste women in the Dark Elven divine system. Every one of them was a licentious goddess. Many darkness gods had very close relationships with the goddesses of the Dark Elven divine system. Yang Feng uttered with a faint smile, even if the entire Dark Elven divine system were added up, it still wouldn't compare to an apple of wisdom. The large number of remaining warships shone brightly, and a rain of light shot towards the Queen of Spiders Lolth and the powerhouse in a cyan cloak. Faced with the overwhelming rain of light, the pretty face of the Queen of Spiders Lolth changed. Formidable divine force gushed out of her, and countless transparent threads invisible to the naked eye suddenly appeared, condensed in front of her, and formed a shield containing divine force of darkness. The complexion of the powerhouse in the cyan cloak changed dramatically. Vast demonic chi gushed out of him in a flash, and he revealed his figure. He turned into a 3-meter-tall archdevil with a green face and fangs, taut muscles, and covered in black scales. As soon as the ancient devil appeared, a terrifying demonic aura comparable to that of a god's emanated from its body. He silently recited an incantation and spread the fingers of a hand, and skulls suddenly appeared and formed a huge shield of bones in front of him. When the rain of light slammed into the shield of the goddess of spiders Lolth, the shield containing divine force of darkness immediately crumbled and shattered. Even though the goddess of spiders Lolth was an intermediate divine force rank god, but with her great warlock rank strength, it was already extremely heaven-defying for her to not be blasted into dregs by the railgun beams and the positron beams. The pretty face of the goddess of spiders Lolth flickered, and she barked, "No! We can't stop him. Let's join hands and kill that kid. Only by killing him will we have a glimmer of hope to reach the golden plane." The goddess of spiders Lolth waved her lily-white hand, and spider threads suddenly ejected and connected to the warship on which Yang Feng and the archdevil were on. Without demur, the archdevil blurred into motion, jumped onto the web-like spider threads, turned into 36 afterimages, surged with demonic chi, and rushed towards Yang Feng. The goddess of spiders Lolth also jumped lightly, landed on the spider threads like a speck of dust, and shot towards Yang Feng at a strange pace. Chapter 445. The densely packed light beams shot towards the ancient devil and goddess Lolth like raindrops, but they only hit their afterimages. They didn't even graze their actual bodies. Most of the steel fleets have been left outside by Yang Feng to snipe the many powerhouses who want to enter the Golden Strait. The firepower of the remaining steel fleets is no longer enough to block the movements of the ancient devil and goddess Lolth. In particular, the Starry Sky Rippers, affected by the airspace restriction array, have their fighting strength greatly reduced, unable to intercept the ancient devil and goddess Lolth. When the ancient devil and goddess Lolth moved, the small boat they were riding was blasted apart by the artillery fire of countless warships, and then turned into countless fragments that sank into the sea. The ancient devil and the goddess Lolth were forced to turn around and go hunt Yang Feng. If they don't kill Yang Feng, then even if they are proficient in countless secret methods and have illusory movements, the warships they are riding will be blasted to pieces. The ancient devil silently recited an incantation, pointed at the sky, and unleashed one of the strongest secret methods of the ancient devils, the Devil's Eye. A vast demonic chi surged, and an ancient devil projection, whose true body exuded a desolate and archaic aura, had 2 ox-like horns on its head, one eye gouged out, and the other 2 horns broken in half, slowly opened its remaining eye and looked indifferently at Yang Feng. When Yang Feng saw the devil projection, his complexion changed dramatically, and he exclaimed, "That's Gu of the 6 heavenly devils." Among the ancient devils, there have been 6 sky devils. Each sky devil was a formidable existence that once contended against warlock emperors. Gu of the 6 heavenly devils even once defeated the Taboo Lord who has yet to ascend to the warlock emperor rank. After the Taboo Lord ascended to the warlock emperor rank, he killed Gu with his supreme might. Gu of the 6 heavenly devils was a terrifying existence who could fight against the Taboo Lord. Even though he was killed by the Taboo Lord, but he still left behind a remnant soul wandering the world. After countless years, the ancient devils were able to use secret techniques to draw out a trace of GE's remnant soul, forming one of the most powerful secret techniques of the ancient devil race, the Devil's Eye. The projection of the sky devil Gu slowly opened one eye, and vast demonic light shot towards Yang Feng. Goddess Lolth silently chanted an incantation and pointed towards the sky. The shadow of a divine kingdom with a beautiful environment and beautiful and unrestrained female dark elves could be seen everywhere suddenly appeared. A resplendent black radiance shone on Goddess Lolth. Goddess Lolth's body swelled, and her aura rose steadily. She transformed into a 20-meter-tall half-human half-spider monster. Her upper body was that of a beautiful woman, and her lower body was that of a huge spider. Her back was covered with sharp, spear-like claws. Lolth was also known as the Queen of Spiders Lolth. It was said that he was the first child of the Mother of Chaos Spider. The primal Chaos Spider Mother was the first generation of creatures born when the universe was created. From the day she was born, she possessed a terrifying power that surpassed the fiend gods. According to legend, she was a terrifying existence that could rival or even surpass human warlock emperors. The primal Chaos Spider Mother gave birth to a total of 108 children. One of them was the goddess Lolth, also known as the Queen of Spiders Lolth. After the Queen of Spiders Lolth devoured several of her sisters, she escaped from the primal Chaos Spider Mother, and then wandered the many planes of the universe for countless years. The primal Chaos Spider venom sprayed by the Queen of Spiders Lolth was indeed one of the most fearsome poisons in the world. However, as long as the venom didn't enter his body, Yang Feng had 10,000 ways to deal with it. After breaking through the strongest attacks of the two powerhouses in one fell swoop, Yang Feng's eyes turned cold, and he sent a primal chaos annihilation fist barreling towards the archdevil from thousands of meters away. The complexion of the archdevil changed dramatically, and he opened his maw and spat out a large mouthful of blood essence. The level 6 secret treasure ghost mist skeleton shield in his hand radiated resplendent light. When the primal chaos annihilation fist slammed into the ogre mist skeleton shield, it was blasted away. Before the archdevil could react, the other primal chaos annihilation fist crossed thousands of meters like a meteor and slammed into him. A look of despair and fear welled up in the eyes of the archdevil, and he opened his mouth as if to say something, when his body exploded, and a copious amount of flesh and blood sputtered in all directions, leaving only a head with an unresigned expression on its face. In the outside world, the archdevil was a powerful existence comparable to gods. For the sake of the apple of wisdom, he even risked his true body to enter the golden strait. On his own plane, he could insta-kill Yang Feng with a single move. But now he was killed by the great warlock-ranked Yang Feng with a single punch. He felt extremely sullen. When the Queen of Spiders Lolth saw the archdevil explode with 2 punches from Yang Feng, her pretty face fell, and she shouted, "Ian, I can give up on the apple of wisdom. Please let me leave this place. If you let me go, I can have the Maiden of Joy and the Goddess of the Dark Elven Divine System accompany you for a year." Although it was only an avatar of the Queen of Spiders Lolth, but it was her strongest avatar. Without the suppression of the planar tide, the strength of this avatar was even comparable to that of a weak divine force rank god, and could contend against a glorious dawn warlock. For the Queen of Spiders Lolth, if such an avatar died here, it would be a huge loss. What a pity. Go to hell. Yang Feng's eyes shimmered coldly, and he sent a primal chaos annihilation fist barreling towards the Queen of Spiders Lolth, as if it was the only thing left in the world, as if carrying the might of a world. Damn it! The Queen of Spiders Lolth's pretty face fell. A divine country projection suddenly appeared behind her, and a copious amount of darkness divine force entered her body. Strengthened by the darkness divine force, countless threads invisible to the naked eye formed a huge domain of threads that blocked in front of the Queen of Spiders Lolth. When the primal chaos annihilation fist slammed into the domain of threads, countless threads collapsed. The fist containing world force smashed all the threads, and then slammed heavily into the Queen of Spiders Lolth's avatar. The pretty face of the Queen of Spiders Lolth's avatar changed several times, and then she stared at Yang Feng with resentment in her beautiful eyes. Her body shook slightly, and then she exploded into pieces. The path of the strongest warlock was extremely difficult. But once one succeeded in cultivating it, it would be extremely powerful and despair-inducing. Yang Feng went to great lengths to go to the astral boundary, and only then did he truly set foot on the strongest warlock path. The Queen of Spiders Loltha's avatar only had great warlock rank cultivation base, so it was naturally not his opponent. Yang Feng beckoned with his hand, and a tremendous attractive force emerged and pulled the remains of the Queen of Spiders Lolth and the Ancient Devil over. Among the remains of the Queen of Spiders Lolth and the Ancient Devil, a devil core and a pitch-black godhead were particularly dazzling. Chapter 446. That devil core was a soul core formed by the Ancient Devil clan. It contained the Ancient Devil's power and soul essence. When many powerful extraordinary life forms evolved to a certain extent, they would condense all kinds of crystal cores inside them. Human warlocks were no exception. When human warlocks advanced to the Starry Sky Warlock rank from the Great Warlock rank, the soul seed in their spirit sea would absorb the power, soul, spell models, and other essences of the warlock and form a soul core. The soul core of human warlocks was not much different from the crystal cores of other extraordinary life forms. Yang Feng grabbed the devil core and glanced at it, and his eyes revealed a smile. This is a pinnacle moonlight warlock rank devil core. Not bad, with this devil core, I can transform into a moonlight warlock rank ancient devil. Or consume other precious materials to create a moonlight warlock rank battle robot. Yang Feng put the devil core aside, grabbed the godhead of the Queen of Spiders Loltha's avatar, frowned slightly, and countless thoughts flashed through his mind. Gods could create avatars to replace their true bodies and walk the secular world. Feeble divine force rank gods could create one avatar. Feeble divine force rank gods could create two. Intermediate divine force rank gods could create 3. Strong divine force rank gods could create 4. Mighty divine force rank gods could create 5. The avatars could be strong or weak, and could contain divinity or even godhead. In some divine systems, the deities who occupied different divine positions were different incarnations of the same deity. The Queen of Spiders Loltha's avatar was extraordinary. She placed a weak divine force rank godhead in it, which was why it was so powerful. But he never expected that his avatar would be slain by Yang Feng. Yang Feng grabbed the weak divine force rank godhead, and his expression flickered. If I use this godhead, it will be equivalent to fighting with the Dark Elven Lolth for control of the Dark Elven believers. I will have an irreconcilable relationship with her. Dark Elves were the forbidden descendants of the Queen of Spiders Lolth as well as the foundation of her godhood. This weak divine force rank godhead was also related to the Dark Elves. Every divine spark was an existence condensed from a race's countless power of faith and special laws by a deity. Godheads formed from specific races could only accept the faith force of specific races. This was the disadvantage of ascending to godhood with the godhead of another. Once Yang Feng wanted to ascend to godhood with this godhead, he would have to compete with the Queen of Spiders Lolth over the believers of the Dark Elves. In addition, that weak divine power rank divine spark also had the soul imprint of its previous owner. If he used this divine spark to become a god, he would be controlled by Goddess Lolth and become her puppet if he wasn't careful. Your Majesty, I give up. Please spare my life. Suddenly, the waves on the sea churned, and Grace, with a broken arm, appeared in front of Yang Feng in a sorry state. Below Grace was a dense horde of sea hunters that made one's scalp tingle with numbness. Lolth of Lolth. Yang of Lolth. Lolth. Sea. Hunter rank Lolth. Hunter. A sea hunter blurred into motion and quickly swam towards the Golden Plain. Aboard the fleet, Grace and Cecilia could only look at each other and smile bitterly. By stopping the fleet here, Yang Feng made it clear that he wouldn't give them any chance to go to the Golden Plain. Aboard the fleet, Grace and Cecilia could only look at each other and smile bitterly. By stopping the fleet here, Yang Feng made it clear that he wouldn't give them any chance to go to the Golden Plain. When they thought that even the Shadow Prince Mecha was punched to death by Yang Feng, the two powerhouses shuddered inside. The Golden Plain was shrouded in golden light, looking sacred and beautiful. Yang Feng's figure blurred, and he quickly rushed towards the Apple of Wisdom tree. When he reached it, he quickly climbed to the top of the apple of wisdom tree. Yang Feng's figure fluttered, and he quickly rushed towards the apple of wisdom tree. When he arrived in front of the apple of wisdom tree, he quickly climbed to the top of the apple of wisdom tree. Yang Feng's figure blurred, and he quickly rushed towards the apple of wisdom tree. When he reached it, he quickly climbed to the top of the apple of wisdom tree. Yang Feng looked at the golden apple with a scorching look in his eyes. He plucked the apple of wisdom and impatiently took a bite. Yang Feng looked at the apple of wisdom with a scorching glint in his eyes. He plucked the apple of wisdom and impatiently took a bite. In an instant, Yang Feng seemed to have gained enlightenment, and all the difficulties he faced in practicing cultivation in the past were easily solved. Much of the knowledge that used to be difficult and obscure became simple and clear in his eyes. The eyes of Yang Feng's clone, who was trapped in the basement of the Black Dragon country because he couldn't comprehend the divinity of massacre, flashed with countless rays of light, and he easily comprehended the law of massacre contained within the divinity of massacre. In the next moment, Yang Feng's clone stood up from the ground. With a smile on his face, he sighed, as expected of the apple of wisdom. It's a peerless treasure that countless powerhouses of the 36 primary material planes yearn to obtain. If it wasn't for the apple of wisdom, it would have taken Yang Feng's clone several years to comprehend the law of massacre, and only then could he barely move. After Yang Feng finished eating the apple of wisdom, countless secret methods streaked past his eyes, and then he analyzed them. All kinds of laws of heaven and earth were stripped of their mysterious outer shell, allowing him to comprehend them freely. The fundamental secret method that Yang Feng's true body cultivated was the primal chaos imperishable body created by the Taboo Lord. This secret method is extremely profound and obscure. After integrating with the semi-plane seed, Yang Feng has become extremely powerful, but at the same time, it has become more difficult and obscure to practice. If he hadn't eaten the apple of wisdom, Yang Feng felt that it would take him another 10 years to complete his transformation and evolve into a starry sky warlock. But now, Yang Feng could clearly feel that as long as he wanted to, he could easily cross that step and promote to a starry sky warlock. Moreover, if he didn't want to consolidate his foundation, he could even promote to a moonlight warlock after promoting to a starry sky warlock. Of course, if he advanced to 2 secret realms consecutively in one day, his foundation would be unstable. If he wanted to advance to a glorious dawn warlock in the future, he would have to spend 1,000 times more time and energy, as well as countless rare treasures, to make up for his weak foundation. Yang Feng grabbed the God Armament Holy Flame Sword and glanced at it. With a thought, a berserk fire domain spread from him in a flash and extended ahead. Yang Feng looked at the fire domain with a smile of excitement in his eyes. Amazing. This apple of wisdom is really amazing. Prior to this, Yang Feng had never comprehended the law of fire. He just sensed the law of fire contained in the God Armament Holy Flame Sword, and then grasped the mysteries of the law of fire. This was the terror of the apple of wisdom. Even if an ordinary person with ordinary aptitude obtained the apple of wisdom, they would be able to soar into the sky in a single bound and become a peerless genius with extraordinary comprehension, far surpassing countless powerhouses. Suppressing his excitement, Yang Feng began to carefully pick the apple leaves around the apple of wisdom. The apple leaves around the apple of wisdom also had the miraculous effect of enlightening people and greatly increasing their wisdom. Each apple leaf of wisdom was very precious in the outside world. Even bright world warlocks would pay a high price to buy them. After Yang Feng plucked 100 apple leaves, a golden light shone on him and teleported him 100 meters away from the apple of wisdom tree. Yang Feng took a deep look at the apple of wisdom tree, then smiled, turned around, and walked back to his fleet. Congratulations, Your Majesty, for obtaining the apple of wisdom. You've soared into the sky in a single bound, and there's hope for you to become a god in the future. As soon as Yang Feng returned to the fleet, Cecilia greeted him with a smile on her face. A complicated look in her eyes, Grace squeezed out a smile and said, "Congratulations, Your Majesty, for obtaining the apple of wisdom. You've soared into the sky in the future." Yang Feng obtained the apple of wisdom, which meant that as long as he didn't die, he would definitely promote to a god in the future. Besides, his ultimate achievement would surpass that of a weak divine force rank god. From now on, the gap between Yang Feng and Cecilia and the others would only widen, and his weight in the eyes of the gods would be different. From the moment he ate the apple of wisdom, Yang Feng was already a quasi-god, and his status was completely different from that of legend-ranked geniuses like Grace and Cecilia. Cecilia's beautiful eyes flashed with a pleading look, and she uttered, "Your Majesty, I want to buy 10 apple of wisdom leaves for the price of 1,000 divine force crystals. Please sell them to me." Although the effect of the 100 apple of wisdom leaves couldn't compare to that of the apple of wisdom, but they were still peerless treasures that could only be produced once every 30,000 years. They were equally precious and of extraordinary value. Grace's beautiful eyes flashed with expectation as she looked at Yang Feng. Yang Feng said resolutely, "That won't do, I won't sell a single one of those leaves. However, I can let you go to the Golden Plain and pick some flowers and plants." Although the apple of wisdom leaves were no longer effective for Yang Feng, but he could give them to his women, friends, and subordinates. He couldn't sell such treasures that could only be encountered by chance. Cecilia's beautiful eyes flickered, and she gritted her teeth and said, "If I am willing to be your mount and serve you for 1,000 years, in exchange, will you give me an apple of wisdom leaf?" Dragon Knight. A term popped up in Yang Feng's mind at once. He took a deep look at the peerlessly beautiful dragon girl Cecilia brimming with a heroic temperament and said, "Yes. But are you sure you have thought it through?" Chapter 447. Cecilia's pretty face flashed with determination, and she said resolutely, "Yes. I've thought it through." The lifespan of dragons was far longer than that of humans. For a dragon with extraordinary bloodline like Cecilia, 1,000 years was only equivalent to 10 years for humans. Yang Feng said lightly, "All right. After we leave, I'll sign a Dragon Knight contract with you." Cecilia was extraordinarily talented and had the backing of a dragon god. With a bit of training, it wouldn't be difficult for her to promote to a Starry Sky Warlock. With Yang Feng's help and careful training, she would have a great chance of promoting to a Moonlight Warlock in the future. Yang Feng naturally didn't want to miss out on such a good helper. The huge fleet quickly arrived at the Golden Plain. Cecilia, Faldina, Arlette, and the other dragonborn powerhouses landed on the Golden Plain. Cecilia and the other proud daughters of heaven came to the Apple of Wisdom tree, yet they couldn't get within 100 meters of it. They could only sigh and turn back. Everyone who landed on the island picked 100 stalks of gold grass and gold flowers, and then returned to the warship, satisfied. The Golden Plain was shrouded by the Time Lord's restriction, and everyone could get 100 stalks of gold grass. Yang Feng collected all the gold grass and flowers the Dragonborn picked, and then gave each of them 10 stalks of gold grass as a reward. Although the power contained in the 10 stalks of gold grass was far from being comparable to that of the Apple of Wisdom leaves, but it was still enough to make the potential of the Dragonborn powerhouses skyrocket. As long as they didn't die, they would definitely be able to promote to legend-rank powerhouses, and there was even a trace of a possibility for them to promote to Starry Sky Warlocks. When Yang Feng's fleet slowly sailed out of the Golden Strait, gazes immediately focused on the huge fleet. "It's over. Damn it. Who got the Apple of Wisdom?" When the God-fiend phantoms that were fighting the Starry Sky Rippers and the legendary powerhouses who were watching from the sidelines saw the huge steel fleet sailing out of the Golden Strait, their eyes turned red and they kept guessing who obtained the Apple of Wisdom. After seeing Yang Feng and company, some tyrannical existences who have already revealed their true forms sighed helplessly, turned into streams of light, and fled in different directions. Yang Feng looked around and saw that 1/3 of the steel fleets have been lost, and the corpses of various freaks could be seen floating on the water. Of the millions of new battle robots in the sky, 1/10 had been lost. Sea hunters quickly swam over and offered the treasures, cores, and fleshly essence of the dead powerhouses to Yang Feng. The sudden appearance of the Golden Sea region forced those who were scheming and had strength comparable to fiend gods to appear one by one. They fought crazily with the Starry Sky Rippers, causing many of them to fall under the blades of the Starry Sky Rippers. As a result, they also left behind many precious treasures. Among them, there were as many as 9 demigod-level treasures, and there was also a water-attributed Sea Emperor crown. As for treasures similar to godheads, there was not a single one. In the Golden Sea region, everyone was suppressed to the Great Warlock rank, which was why Yang Feng could easily kill the Shadow Prince Mecha, the Queen of Spiders Loltha's avatar, and the Ancient Devil Viscount. If it was in the outside world, then even if they weren't a match for Yang Feng, but they could still escape quickly with their demigod rank strength. After Yang Feng's fleet left the Golden Sea region disappeared, and so did the path leading to the Golden Plain. Only strong divine force rank powerhouses could open a path leading to the Golden Plain at the expense of a copious amount of divine force. Ian. It's him. He got the Apple of Wisdom. It should be him. Gazes full of envy and jealousy focused on Yang Feng. Although the powerhouses didn't personally enter the Golden Plain, but when they saw the beaming dragonborn powerhouses and the Golden Sea region disappear, they guessed the truth of the matter. Only after the Apple of Wisdom was picked and the person who obtained it left the Golden Sea region would the Golden Sea region disappear. On the surface of the sea, waves churned, and the beautiful mermaid Empress Brihea with a trident in hand stepped on the waves. Looking at Yang Feng from afar, her beautiful eyes flickered with a complicated glint, and she said loudly, "I am Princess Brihea of the Mermaid Empire. Your Majesty Ian, may I ask if the Apple of Wisdom has fallen into your hands?" Gazes full of expectation, apprehension, curiosity, envy, and other complicated emotions focused on Yang Feng. Yang Feng smiled faintly, then took out an Apple of Wisdom leaf and flicked it towards Arlette. "Eat it." Arlette's beautiful eyes shimmered with pleasant surprise, and she swallowed the Apple of Wisdom leaf without hesitation. In the next moment, an incomparably vast black dragon aura gushed out of Arlette's delicate body. Countless black dragon scales grew on her body, making her seem like a humanoid black dragon. Her eyes flickered with the light of wisdom, and she frantically absorbed the surrounding vigor of heaven and earth. Yang Feng flicked his finger, and vials of precious elixirs turned into a stream of water and entered Arlette's cherry lips. After a dozen-plus breaths of time, Arlette exuded Starry Sky Warlock rank dragon might in a flash, and she faced upwards and issued a tremendous dragon roar. As if an ancient dragon roaring in the sea, the minds of many legend-rank powerhouses trembled. Aboard the Black Steel warship, many dragonborn powerhouses looked at Arlette, trembling with envy and awe. Arlette has broken through the shackles of the Black Dragon bloodline and stepped into the demigod realm, suppressing countless geniuses of the Black Dragon country. Even the ancient Black Dragon Oben could no longer order her around. Arlette opened her eyes. Feeling the surging power inside her, she knelt on one knee and saluted Yang Feng gratefully. "Thank you for the treasure, Your Majesty." Arlette was a rare genius, and her cultivation base was originally at the pinnacle Great Warlock rank. But after she received the Black Dragon Morph secret method imparted to her by Yang Feng, coupled with the Apple of Wisdom leaf, she broke through in one fell swoop and advanced to the Starry Sky Warlock rank. Demigod. She broke through to the demigod realm. Damn it, that's an Apple of Wisdom leaf. It must be Ian who got the Apple of Wisdom. When the spectating legend rank powerhouses saw Arlette break through to the demigod rank, their eyes turned bloodshot and filled with jealousy and envy. Promoting from a legend rank to a demigod was a huge hurdle. On the Feisua Plain, the hidden legend rank powerhouses had emerged one after another. Legend rank powerhouses that were rarely seen in the past could be seen everywhere during the Democalypse. However, demigod rank powerhouses were still very rare. On the Feisua Plain, if human powerhouses didn't draw support from external forces, such as Faith Force, Godhead, or other external forces, they simply couldn't promote to the demigod rank. After Arlette obtained the Apple of Wisdom leaf, she ascended to the demigod rank in a single bound before everyone's eyes. Naturally, it was very enviable. On the Feisua Plain, the Apple of Wisdom leaf was one of the very few rare treasures that could break through the shackles of the human body and allow people to break through to the demigod rank without relying on Faith Force. After Yang Feng saw that Arlette had promoted to a demigod rank powerhouse, he smiled leisurely and said in a clear voice, "That's right, I ate the Apple of Wisdom." He ate it. Damn it. Bastard! Sure enough, he ate it. Damn it! Damn it! When the surrounding legend rank powerhouses heard that, their hearts were torn apart, and they were filled with envy, jealousy, and hatred, yet there was nothing they could do. If it had been them, they would have eaten the apple of wisdom as soon as they had obtained it. Keeping it in their hands would only be a source of disaster. Tyrannical auras descended from the sky. As if piercing through the void, gazes comparable to transcendent rank powerhouses looked carefully at Yang Feng. What a pity! Alas! A series of sighs rang out in the void, and the terrifying aura that was comparable to that of gods and demons slowly dissipated. If it was for the apple of wisdom, these transcendent rank powerhouses would be willing to come with their true bodies and fight Yang Feng's mechanical legion. However, since the apple of wisdom was already eaten by Yang Feng, it wasn't worth it to fight him in this part of the sea. Many legendary powerhouses also sighed slightly. They turned into streams of light and flew into the distance, leaving this troublesome place. The eyes of some legend-rank powerhouses flickered as they stared at Yang Feng. In addition to the apple of wisdom, the apple of wisdom leaf was also a peerless treasure. An apple of wisdom leaf could enable a pinnacle legend-rank powerhouse to break through to a demigod-rank powerhouse, and there was even a glimmer of hope for them to promote to a feeble divine force-rank god. Since Yang Feng got the apple of wisdom, then the apple of wisdom leaf must have fallen into his hands as well. The mermaid Empress Brihea uttered lightly, "Your Majesty Ian, I'm willing to pay 5,000 divine force crystals for an apple of wisdom leaf." Yang Feng uttered with a faint smile, 5,000 divine force crystals? 100,000 divine force crystals per leaf, and I'm only selling one leaf. There was a flash of anger in the beautiful eyes of the mermaid Empress Brihea, and she snapped, 100,000 divine force crystals, that's impossible. Your Majesty Ian, 5,000 divine force crystals per leaf is already a very sincere offer. Chapter 448. 100,000 divine force crystals was equivalent to the income of the Xalia divine system's radiant primary god Prados in more than 70 years on the Fesua plane. For the mermaid Empress Brihea, exchanging this huge sum of money for an apple of wisdom leaf was too great. In addition to the 100,000 divine force crystals, you can also use these rare treasures to exchange for it. Come back to me after you've thought it over. Of course, if anyone else wants to get an apple of wisdom leaf, they can also use these treasures to exchange with me. Yang Feng smiled faintly and clapped his hands, and a projector on a cruiser shot out countless rays of light and displayed countless rare treasures in the void, many of which were core materials needed to build a level 3 stronghold. The level 2 mobile fortified stronghold was already completed. It was only a matter of time before the second and third level 2 mobile fortified stronghold were completed. Yang Feng had already begun to collect the core materials for the level 3 stronghold. Once the core materials for the level 3 stronghold were collected and the level 3 stronghold was built, his power would increase geometrically. The surrounding legendary powerhouses all focused their attention on the various precious materials projected by the projector, and memorized the various precious materials one by one. Brihea looked at the countless precious materials recorded on the projector, and her beautiful eyes flickered with an enigmatic light. Each of the precious materials recorded on the projector was a top treasure of the Fesua plane. Some of them were even more valuable than the apple of wisdom leaf, and there was no lack of divine materials that could be used to manufacture top god armaments. Even the mermaid Empress Brihea didn't dare to exchange these treasures at will. A few minutes later, the projection disappeared. Yang Feng left half of the fleet to salvage the wreckage of the destroyed battle robots in the area, while the other half headed for the Black Dragon country. Escorted by the 400,000 starry sky rippers in the sky, although the powerhouses coveted the apple of wisdom leaf in Yang Feng's hands, but none of them dared to act rashly. The apple of wisdom could make transcendent rank powerhouses disregard their lives and fight to the death with their true bodies. Although the apple of wisdom leaf could also enhance the wisdom of transcendent rank powerhouses, but the effect wasn't great. It wasn't enough to make them risk their true bodies to fight Yang Feng. A month later, the Black Dragon country. Countless experts of the dragon human race were prostrating on the ground in the middle of a huge square. Dressed in a luxurious silver high priest robe, Arlette walked step by step to the first high platform in the square along a passage where countless people were crawling on the ground. Arlette's phoenix eyes shone brightly as she looked down at the experts of the Black Dragon Divine Sect and said slowly, "I am Arlette, the Pope of the Black Dragon Divine Sect. Now, all of you pray with me and contribute your strength to raise the divine throne of our Master and turn into the stars in the sky. Great Master Ian, you are the only supreme, honorable, and great existence in this world. Great Master Ian. You're the ruler of the Dragon Men. You're the guardian of the Black Dragon Nation. The supreme king of the Shadow Nation. Great Master Ian. You are the invincible god of war. You are the god of death who controls life and death. Great Master Ian. We offer our most devout faith to you. From now on, after death, we will return to your divine kingdom. I will become your shield and block all harm for you. I will become your sword and cut down all your enemies. Great Master Ian. May your divine kingdom be raised high and turn into the stars in the sky." In the center of the square, neat and holy prayers rang out one after another. Yang Feng's clone walked out slowly, his eyes flashing with the light of wisdom. A copious amount of faith power poured into him from the experts of the Dragon Men. Divinity quickly condensed inside Yang Feng. With a thought, a frightening demigod-rank aura diffused from him. Yang Feng easily crossed the hurdle that ordinary legend-rank experts couldn't cross in their lifetime and promoted to a demigod. Yang Feng crushed 10 divine force crystals at once, and pure divine force entered his forehead and turned into divine fire that burned the divinity threads in his forehead. Yang Feng's eyes flickered with the light of wisdom. The laws of the world flickered in his eyes, and divinity suddenly appeared and entered the divine fire. Yang Feng absorbed divine force crystals one after another, making the divine fire on his forehead more exuberant. In the Red Earth Wasteland, in the city of half-blood beast men. Great Master Ian, you are the only supreme, noble, and great being in this world. Great Master Ian. You are the ruler of half-blood beast men, the supreme monarch of the Shadow Kingdom. Great Master Ian. You are the invincible god of war, you are the god of death who controls life and death. Great Master Ian. We offer you our most pious faith. From now on, after death, we will return to your divine kingdom. We will become your shield and block all harm for you. We will become your sword and cut down all your enemies for you. Great Master Ian. May your divine kingdom be raised high and turn into the stars in the sky. Countless half-blood beast men prostrated themselves on the ground. Under the leadership of half-blood beast man priests, they devoutly recited prayers. Faith power from the dragonborn and half-blood beast men fell on Yang Feng and entered his divine fire. An hour later, a godhead finally condensed in the divine fire on Yang Feng's forehead. A copious amount of divine fire was absorbed by the godhead, and fearsome divine might spread in all directions with him as the center. Someone has promoted to a god. Who is it? Who has promoted to a god? When Yang Feng promoted to a god, the laws of the Feisua Plain shook. The gods of the Feisua Plain sensed it in an instant, and their gazes focused on him. In a divine kingdom shrouded in darkness, illuminated only by candlelight, there was a goddess who was 100 meters tall. Her upper body was that of a peerless beauty, and her lower body was that of a ferocious and ugly spider. She exuded a coquettish, licentious, charming, and pure aura from her body. She was the goddess of dark elves Lolth as well as the queen of spiders Lolth. Beside the queen of spiders Lolth, there were countless handsome dark elves kneeling on the ground, using various methods to please her. Damn it! This bastard actually succeeded in ascending to godhood. Curses! The eyes of the queen of spiders Lolth flickered with golden light. As if she saw through the void, she saw Yang Feng ignite his divine fire and promote to a god. Gnashing her teeth and furious, she clapped her hands, and as if slapping ants, the dozen-plus dark elven handsome men and beautiful women beside her were smashed into meat paste. Furious, the queen of spiders Lolth roared madly, "The apple of wisdom should be mine. Wretched bastard! If I had the apple of wisdom, I would have been able to promote to a strong divine force rank existence within 100,000 years. Wretched bastard! Gods had a long lifespan and were far stronger than experts of the same rank. But at the same time, they had many fatal weaknesses, one of which was that it was very difficult to promote. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, the Queen of Spiders Lolth was already an intermediate divine force rank existence, and she was still an intermediate divine force rank existence. If she hadn't obtained the apple of wisdom, then even if she lived for another 1,000,000 years, she would only be an intermediate divine force rank existence, unable to break through. Yang Feng snatched her apple of wisdom, which naturally made her hate him greatly. In a divine country with a bright and beautiful sun, birds chirping, and fragrant flowers, looking like a fairyland on earth, the eyes of a beautiful goddess flickered with golden light as she stared at Yang Feng, and her beautiful eyes revealed curiosity. Is he Ian? The one who obtained the apple of wisdom? Gazes brimming with complicated emotions focused on Yang Feng. Vast law force enveloped Yang Feng, turned him into a stream of light, and flew into the starry sky. As soon as he flew into the starry sky, all kinds of planar laws related to the Feisua plane rushed towards Yang Feng like a tide. An invisible shackle and bondage shrouded Yang Feng. Once Yang Feng's embodiment promoted to a god on the Feisua plane, his true body would henceforth share will and woe with the Feisua plane, unable to leave. When the Feisua plane was destroyed, all the gods of the Feisua plane would perish, with no exception. With a wave of his hand, Yang Feng released the semi-plane he obtained from the astral boundary and flicked his fingers. Immediately after, the laws of the Feisua plane entered the semi-plane. 30,000 divine force crystals burned and turned into pure divine force that entered the semi-plane. Yang Feng also threw the countless precious materials he obtained from the Feisua plane into the semi-plane. After the semi-plane absorbed the countless divine force crystals, it expanded frantically and turned into a celestial body with a diameter of 1,000 kilometers, with protruding mountains and flowing rivers. It turned into a true divine country containing the Feisua plane. When the divine country was built, Yang Feng felt a mysterious connection form between the divine country, him, and the countless believers. From now on, as long as the devout believers died on the Feisua plane, they would be received into his divine country, and their souls would become his property. Of course, after the divine country was completed, Yang Feng still needed to refine it with divine force and inject the laws he grasped into it, making it stronger and stronger.
Chapter 449. Divine Country. He actually condensed his own divine country. That's right, those divine force crystals are for the sake of refining a divine country. What a fearsome fellow. With his own divine kingdom, even a low-level deity may not be a match for him. The gazes of the gods focused on Yang Feng's divine country, and many of them are filled with shock and envy. Divine countries are the lairs of gods and their most powerful god armaments. Only gods with divine countries can receive the souls of their believers. Moreover, the various laws grasped by gods can be inserted into the divine country to create the most favorable fighting environment. In a divine kingdom that was powerful enough, even a weak divine power rank god could cross two realms to contend against a mid-level divine power rank god. However, semi-planes are extremely rare, and you have to go to dangerous places like the astral boundary to find them. Among the gods of the Feisua plane, many gods don't have their own divine countries. Many gods of the Zalia pantheon and the Titan pantheon don't have their own divine countries, and live in the divine countries of other gods. In the divine countries of other gods, they set aside an area to receive their believers. Among the Dark Elven pantheon, only the Queen of Spiders Lolth has her own divine country. The other Dark Elven gods live in the divine country of the Queen of Spiders Lolth and receive their believers with the power of the divine country. Among the Darkness gods, more than 2/3 of them don't have their own divine country. They can't even receive the souls of their believers. The Shadow Prince Mecha, for example, doesn't have his own divine country, and thus can't receive his believers into his divine country. For Yang Feng to be able to successfully refine his divine country as soon as he ascended to the godhood, this is simply incredible. Yang Feng pointed with a finger, and divine light shone, and his divine country quietly disappeared into a secret place in accordance with the Fesua Plains laws. The location of each god's divine kingdom was also a huge secret to the other gods. If it isn't necessary, many gods will hide their divine countries in secret places that other gods can't find. After ascending to godhood, every god will be in their weakest state, because they did not have their own divine kingdom. Even if he had his own divine kingdom, it would be difficult to inscribe powerful laws in a short period of time. The divine kingdom that was not inscribed with its own laws was the treasure that the other gods coveted the most. Some weak divine powers, or even mid-level divine powers, would attack those weak gods who had just been apotheosized and had their own god kingdoms, plundering their god kingdoms. After refining their divine country, every god had a chance to hide their divine country in a secret place in the vast starry sky of the Fesua Plain in accordance with the laws of the Fesua Plain. Damn it! What a cunning fellow! After the gods saw Yang Feng's divine country disappear into the void, many gods sighed. Almost at the same time, a star appeared in the starry sky of the Fesua Plain, emitting resplendent light. Yang Feng's figure shook, and he turned into a black ray of light that entered the star and disappeared. The star was the projection of Yang Feng's divine country on the Fesua Plain. Through the projection, Yang Feng could enter his divine country directly. Other gods, even if they are strong divine force rank gods, cannot enter Yang Feng's divine country through a projection. When Yang Feng entered his divine country, he pressed the dimensional badge, and countless engineering robots flew out and began to build palaces and residences in the divine country. With a flick of his wrist, the Shadow Prince Mecha's godhead appeared in Yang Feng's hand.
The godhead hidden in the Queen of Spiders Loltha's avatar was a weak divine power rank godhead. Its evolution potential was far greater than that of the Shadow Prince Mecha's avatar. However, Yang Feng vaguely felt that once he integrated the godhead of the Queen of Spiders Loltha's avatar into his body, something extremely bad would happen, which was why he didn't take it out. Yang Feng pressed the Shadow Prince Mecha's godhead into his forehead. With a flash of gold light, the Shadow Prince Mecha's godhead entered his forehead and slowly merged with his own godhead. Countless law of shadow poured out of the Shadow Prince Mecha's godhead, and Yang Feng's eyes shimmered with the light of wisdom. He easily comprehended the Shadow Prince Mecha's tens of thousands of years of understanding of shadow and assassination. Before obtaining the Apple of Wisdom, even if Yang Feng promoted to a god and possessed the tremendous analytical power of a godhead, it would take him at least 10 or even 20 years to comprehend the laws within the Shadow Prince Mecha's godhead. But after obtaining the Apple of Wisdom, using the power of a godhead, he comprehended everything in practically a few breaths of time. In the secret basement of a villa, there was a statue of the Shadow Prince, Mecha, broken into two halves. Mighty Lord, Shadow Prince Mecha, your most devout believer, please listen to our voice. In front of the statue, there was a haggard archbishop of the Shadow Church reciting prayers in despair. But no matter how he recited the prayers, he couldn't get in touch with the God he believed in. Without the blessing of the God and the bestowal of divine spells, he, who could even be killed by a legend wizard, has been reduced to an ordinary old man without any extraordinary power. In the secret room, there were a dozen plus bishops of the Shadow Church prostrating themselves, their faces haggard and their expressions panicked. At this moment, the broken statue of the Shadow Prince Mecha strangely healed. At the same time, the statue twisted and changed into a statue that looked 90% similar to Yang Feng. When the Archbishop of the Shadow Church looked up and saw the flabbergasting scene, he trembled. He realized that the Shadow Prince Mecha was dead, and a god who devoured the Shadow Prince Mecha's godhead was born. My name is Ian, the ruler of the shadows. Those who believe in me will return to my divine country after death and obtain eternal life. A thought entered the minds of the archbishops and bishops of the Shadow Church. My Lord Ian, I am Jasid. I am willing to believe in you and pray for you to bestow me with strength. The complexion of the archbishop changed several times, and then he respectfully lowered his head and prayed devoutly to the statue of Yang Feng. The next moment, the archbishop of the Shadow Church felt a trace of very familiar shadow divine power permeating his body, which made him ecstatic. My Lord Ian, I am Jasid. I am willing to believe in you and pray for you to bestow me with strength. The eyes of the bishops of the Shadow Church shimmered with greed, and they knelt on the ground and prayed loudly. The archbishops and bishops of the Shadow Church were not fanatics, so they didn't care that the God they believed in changed. As long as the God could bestow them with strength, they would be willing to believe in that God. Wisps of shadow divine force diffused from the bishops of the Shadow Church, making them ecstatic and praying even more devoutly. After experiencing the pain of losing their power, they became even more pious. Such scenes occurred continuously throughout the Fesua plain. After all, the Shadow Prince Mecca has operated on the Fesua plain for more than 10,000 years and has a considerable foundation on the Fesua plain. He has more than 10 million believers, and his sphere of influence covers the entire Fesua plain. After Yang Feng analyzed the godhead of the Shadow Prince Mecca, he obtained 3/4 of the believers and forces of the Shadow Prince Mecca. The remaining 1/4 were diehard followers of the Shadow Prince Mecca. They either committed suicide or went into hiding, full of hatred for the shadow ruler Yang Feng. Inside the divine country, Yang Feng analyzed the godhead of the Shadow Prince Mecca, and suddenly showed a smile. Interesting, this Shadow Prince Mecca is really not simple. He actually became the sole god of a plane. When the Shadow Prince Mecca was traveling in the astral boundary, he was lucky enough to discover a grade 9 plane. Although his true body couldn't descend to the grade 9 plane, but he split off an avatar and entered the grade 9 plane. After 300 years, he took full control of the grade 9 plane and made the Shadow Church the sole church in the grade 9 plane. In the grade 9 plane, the population was as high as 13 million. It was much more prosperous than the Shadow Church on the Fesua plane. In fact, many powerful gods who became gods on the Fesua plane would go to the astral boundary, look for other low-level planes, colonize them, and turn them into their land of faith. Gods who became gods on the Fesua plane could only travel in the Fesua plane and the astral boundary with their true bodies. Once they went to other planes, their strength would plummet. However, their avatars and divine legions didn't have such restrictions. Yang Feng's heart stirred, and he ordered, scan, analyze, digitize. Divine name Ian. Divine authority, God of half-blood beast men, ruler of dragonborn, ruler of shadows, God of war, God of death. Godhead, God of half-blood beast men 1, ruler of dragonborn 1, ruler of shadows 5, God of war 1, God of death 1. Total Godhead rank, 5, feeble divine force rank. Number of believers, 26,723,452. Estimated number of divine power crystals per year, 123. Divine country level, 1, lines of information quickly appeared. Godhead wasn't calculated by superimposing, but by taking the highest value. If he hadn't absorbed the Shadow Prince Mecca's Godhead, Yang Feng's Godhead rank would be 1. Even though he absorbed the Shadow Prince Mecca's Godhead, his Godhead rank was only 5, which didn't break through the limit of the feeble divine force rank. Chapter 450. In the hierarchy of the gods, there was no god. Godheads 1 to 5 were feeble divine force grades. Godheads 6 to 10 were weak divine force grades. Godheads 11 to 15 were intermediate divine force grades. Godheads 15 to 20 were strong divine force grades. Godheads 20 to 25 were mighty divine force grades. Godheads 25 and above were supreme gods. Supreme gods were frightening existences that could contend against the warlock emperors of the 8 warlock dynasties. After the Time Lord ascended to the warlock emperor position, he once fought a supreme god. Although he eventually killed the supreme god, but he was also seriously injured. Reportedly, it was because of this that the Time Lord died early. As for the divine country hierarchy, it was similar to the god hierarchy. Divine country level 1 didn't increase the strength of a god much. If it was a level 5 divine country, it would greatly increase the strength of a god. The eyes of Yang Feng's clone congealed, and he operated a secret method. Using divine force crystals as well as countless rare treasures, he began to engrave the various laws he comprehended in his divine country. The Battle Demon sect's immortal Huang Palace, inside Yang Feng's dwelling. Yang Feng held a secret book recording the Battle Demon's secret method, carefully studied it, and revealed a smile. Now it's time for me to practice the various powerful secret methods recorded in the Battle Demon sect. The Battle Demon's secret method was one of the most powerful secret methods recorded in the Battle Demon sect. It had 5 realms. They were divided into 5 realms: Cyan Battle Demon, Silver Battle Demon, Gold Battle Demon, Black Battle Demon, and White Battle Demon. The Cyan Battle Demon could increase the caster's combat power by 30%. The Silver Battle Demon could increase the caster's combat power by 60%. The Gold Battle Demon could increase the caster's combat power by 90%. The Black Battle Demon could increase the caster's combat power by 200%. The White Battle Demon could increase the caster's combat power by 500%. Moreover, the Battle Demon possession could weaken the attacks of all kinds of hostile spells. Whether it was physical, magical, spirit, or soul attacks, they could be weakened by more than half. The Battle Demon's secret method was a powerful secret method, one of the fundamental secret methods of the Battle Demon sect. Yang Feng was able to easily defeat Zhong Sunan before because he cultivated the strongest warlock path and had the support of a semi-plane in his spirit sea. His strength and physique were far stronger than Zhong Sunan's. However, if they had the same strength, Yang Feng would not be able to defeat Zhong Sunan, who was possessed by the Black Battle Demon. Prior to this, Yang Feng didn't practice the demonic fighting sect's secret methods because he didn't have the time to practice them. Take the Battle Demon secret method for example. If one wasn't a monstrous genius, then an ordinary great warlock would only be able to cultivate the Green Battle Demon possession after spending 100 years. At that time, he was dizzy from cultivating the immortal primal chaos body. He had too many things to do and had no time to cultivate the Battle Demon sect's secret technique. Yang Feng glanced at the Battle Demon's secret method and easily understood what was recorded in it. The life force inside him surged, and he easily formed a Green Battle Demon. As soon as the Green Battle Devil appeared, it trembled slightly and turned into a Silver Battle Devil. In just a quarter of an hour, Yang Feng cultivated the Battle Demon's secret method, which would take an ordinary genius 100 years to cultivate to the Silver Battle Demon realm. A few days later, the Silver Battle Devil trembled and transformed into a Gold Battle Devil. After Yang Feng cultivated the Gold Battle Demon, although his life force didn't increase much, but his combat power skyrocketed by more than 90%. Dang! 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 While Yang Feng was studying the Battle Demon's secret method, a huge bell rang in the Battle Demon sect. Has it finally begun? Schwaer's Moonlight Ceremony. After he heard the bell, Yang Feng's gaze moved away from the secret manual in his hand, and the Gold Battle Devil behind him collapsed. He revealed a smile. Shui, the monstrous genius who caused the 2 great elders of the Battle Demon sect to disregard face to fight over, finally revealed her frightening cultivation talent. In less than 50 years, she promoted to a Moonlight Warlock, shocking the entire sect. The Battle Demon sect also sent invitations to countless experts of the Great Cloud Dynasty to come and participate in the ceremony. Yang Feng's figure shook slightly, and he disappeared from the secret room. In the Battle Demon Hall, on the throne, there sat a young man about 23 or 24 years old, dressed in a green robe, exuding a scholarly aura. This young man was the current sect master of the Battle Demon sect, Lu Wuchen, and he possessed a glorious Dawn Warlock rank cultivation base. He was a powerful existence comparable to a transcendent. On both sides of the reception hall were the peak masters and true disciples of the Battle Demon sect. Yang Feng was also among them. Zhang Hanshan, Zhui Yifan, and Zhou Feng, the personal disciples of the 3 great elders, were also among them. At the same time, in addition to the 9 seats on both sides of the reception hall, the rest were occupied by leaders of famous forces in the Great Cloud Dynasty or representatives sent by those forces. The 9 distinctive seats were set up for the other 9 sects of the Great Cloud Dynasty. The representatives of the major forces looked at Yang Feng and the other true disciples of the Battle Demon sect with curiosity and awe in their eyes. Zhang Hanshan sighed faintly and said with a complicated expression, Moonlight Warlock. Junior disciple Sister Shi is really amazing. She has been in the sect for less than 30 years, yet she has already advanced to a Moonlight Warlock. What a peerless genius. Compared to her, I feel like I've lived for hundreds of years in vain. Zhui Yifan grinned and said, "Ha ha. Junior disciple Sister Zhang, you don't have to belittle yourself. Junior disciple Sister Shi's talent is indeed above ours. In the entire Great Cloud dynasty, I'm afraid there are few people who can compare to junior disciple Sister Shi. You're really asking for trouble by comparing yourself with those freaks. If you have the time to compare yourself, you might as well think of a way to promote to a Moonlight Warlock." Zhou Feng also advised, "That's right. Junior disciple Sister Shi's talent is the strongest in the history of the Battle Demon sect. It's not strange for her to cultivate to a Moonlight Warlock. Even if she becomes a glorious Dawn Warlock, it's just a matter of time for her. According to my master, she has a 70% chance of promoting to a Bright World Warlock in the future. She may even promote to an Infinity Warlock in the future. Junior disciple Sister Zhang, don't compare yourself with her. It won't do you any good." With a complicated look in her eyes, Zhang Hanshan suddenly asked Yang Feng, Shi Shui isn't your biological sister, is she? Yang Feng replied calmly, "Yes, she's not my biological sister." Zhang Hanshan said with a smile, "Then you have to be careful." A year ago, senior disciple brother Mo Wuheng fell in love with junior disciple sister Shi Shui at first sight. Yang Feng frowned slightly and searched his memory for this name, Mo Wuheng. It didn't take long for Yang Feng to find this person's name in the corner of his memory. Mo Wuheng was one of the personal disciples of the Battle Demon sect's great elder Yu Wuxian. He ranked above Zhang Hanshan, had an inferior level 7 soul aptitude, and advanced to a Moonlight Warlock 30 years ago. He was extremely proud and overbearing. In the sect, he wasn't very popular. Suddenly, there was a commotion in the crowd, and gazes fell on the entrance of the hall. A beautiful girl dressed in a plain white dress, with a fairy-like temperament, stepped into the hall. She looked like an aloof and inviolable goddess. Beside this fairy-like beauty was a handsome young man in black clothes. He had a proud and domineering expression, and he gave off an aura of supremacy. That's the Battle Demon sect Shi Shui. The most talented genius in the history of the Battle Demon sect. Superior level 8 soul aptitude. This soul aptitude isn't inferior to that of a Warlock Emperor. How beautiful and powerful. In less than 30 years, she has already promoted to a Moonlight Warlock, that's simply heaven-defying. Gazes focused on Shi Shui, and the leaders of the major forces couldn't help but comment. Many of the youths next to the leaders stared at Shi Shui, their eyes flashing with admiration. The population of the Great Cloud dynasty was calculated in the trillions. Among the countless geniuses, superior level 8 soul aptitude was a rare sight. As long as Shi Shui didn't die along the way and obtained abundant resources, it wouldn't be difficult for her to advance to a glorious Dawn Warlock. Even if she advanced to a Bright World Warlock, it would only be a little difficult. She was destined to become a powerful existence on the level of a great elder of the Battle Demon sect in the future. Naturally, she was admired by countless young people. That's Divine Blade Mo Wuheng. The Mo Wuheng who killed the white-faced ghost devil Wei Cheng. That's right. The white-faced devil Wei Cheng is a Moonlight Warlock rank fiend. He once massacred 30 cities and killed millions of people in the Great Cloud dynasty. He once seriously injured several Moonlight Warlock rank experts of the ominous suppression pavilion who hunted him down. For Mo Wuheng to be able to kill that fiend, he's a genius of the Battle Demon sect for no reason. The leaders of the different forces in the Great Cloud dynasty looked at Mo Wuheng with awe in their eyes. Moonlight Warlock rank powerhouses were comparable to transcendence and possessed countless means. For a true disciple of the Battle Demon sect like Mo Wuheng to defeat a Moonlight Warlock rank fiend like the white-faced devil Wei Cheng, but it was very difficult to kill Wei Cheng. To be able to kill Wei Cheng, Mo Wuheng's strength clearly surpassed that of ordinary Moonlight Warlocks by far. Mo Wuheng ignored the awe-inspiring gazes. His gaze fell on Shi Shui's body, full of passion, with a look of deep love. Shi Shui didn't care about Mo Wuheng at all. As soon as she entered the reception hall, her gaze shifted and fell on Yang Feng, and the corners of her mouth rose into a sweet smile. The entire reception hall seemed to become more beautiful and bright because of her smile. Taken aback, Mo Wuheng followed Shi Shui's gaze and saw Yang Feng at a glance. His face suddenly sank, and his eyes flickered with frigid light. Inside the reception hall, the representatives of the major forces also followed Shi Shui's gaze and fell on Yang Feng. Chapter 451. Who's that? It seems to be Fairy Shi Shui's big brother, Great Elder Huang Yi's personal disciple, Yang Feng. With a great warlock rank cultivation base, he's much worse than Fairy Shi Shui. That's for sure. In the Great Cloud Dynasty, how many people can compare to Fairy Shi Shui? The representatives of the major forces glanced at Yang Feng with regret in their eyes. In a subsidiary subcontinent like Tyrandot subcontinent, a great warlock rank expert was already a peak expert who could dominate a part of it. But in the Great Cloud Dynasty, they were nothing. In the Great Cloud Dynasty's most elite royal guards, the weakest soldiers possessed great warlock rank cultivation base. In the demonic fighting sect where experts were as common as clouds, great warlock rank experts could be seen everywhere. Many outer sect disciples possessed great warlock rank cultivation bases. Mo Wuheng glanced at Yang Feng with disdain and contempt in his eyes, and then didn't look at Yang Feng again. Compared to him, a trifling great warlock, the gap between them was like that between a god and a mortal. They weren't on the same level. Shi Shui took a deep look at Yang Feng, then strolled forward and sat down in the seat second only to Sect Master Lu Wuchen. Like a proud and noble goddess, she overlooked the people below. Mo Wuheng also found a seat next to Shi Shui and sat down. His gaze was fixed on Shi Shui, and he didn't spare the representatives of the major forces a glance. A beautiful woman dressed in purple strode into the reception hall with 4 disciples dressed in the uniform of the Bright Moon School. One of the disciples was Zhang Zhiqiao, a genius of the Bright Moon School whom Yang Feng had met before. The beautiful woman in purple bowed to Lu Wuchen and said with a smile, "I am Meng Yunhan of the Bright Moon School." "Greetings, senior disciple brother Lu. Congratulations on adding another Moonlight Warlock to your esteemed sect. In less than 30 years, she has promoted to a Moonlight Warlock. She's really a rare genius of the Great Cloud Dynasty. How enviable. With this genius, your esteemed sect may give birth to an Infinity Warlock 1,000 years later." Lu Wuchen said with a smile, "Junior disciple Sister Meng, please take a seat." Meng Yunhan smiled and led Zhang Zhiqiao and the others to their seats. Shortly after Meng Yunhan took his seat, a glorious Sun Warlock rank elder from the Star River sect, the Golem Gate, the Beast God School, and the Myriad Snow Gate came to congratulate him. Among the 10 great sects of the Great Cloud Dynasty, the Saint Demon sect and the Corpse Demon sect use ancient fiends, ancient devils, evil ogres, kindred, and shadow life forms. The other was a sect that dug up the corpses of powerful existences and used them to conduct research on forbidden spells. The behavior of these 2 great sects was extremely cruel and strange, so they were rejected by the other 8 great sections. However, the Saint Devil's sect and the Corpse Demon sect were still somewhat restrained in their actions. They did not carry out any large-scale massacres of mortals. Even if Great Cloud Dynasty wanted to use warlocks to carry out various taboo experiments, it would still go to the slave market to buy all kinds of warlock slaves. It didn't cross the bottom line of Great Cloud Dynasty. Moreover, like other sects, these 2 sects have sent countless experts to serve the Great Cloud Dynasty, which is why they haven't been eradicated. However, the Saint Demon sect and the Corpse Demon sect weren't favored by the other 10 great sects, so they naturally wouldn't send people to participate in the Battle Demon sect's Moonlight Ceremony. A beautiful woman in yellow with a fairy-like temperament and a moving charm between her eyebrows and a middle-aged man in white with an otherworldly temperament and hair in a bun walked side by side into the hall. Behind the yellow-robed beauty were 4 other beauties wearing the St. Lotus sect's uniform. One of them was wearing a plain white long dress. Her skin was as white as snow, and her features were as beautiful as a painting. She was like a white celestial lotus, and her beauty was enough to cause the downfall of a city. Compared to Shi Shui, who has already advanced to a moonlight warlock, she was only slightly inferior. Behind the middle-aged man followed 4 men in the Tai sect's attire. One of them was dressed in yellow, had a jade-like complexion, jade-like skin, and eyes as bright as stars. He was full of confidence. Just by being there, his presence was already far superior to Mo Wuheng's. In this hall, in terms of handsomeness and temperament, Mo Wuheng was number 1. But when this man from the Tai sect appeared, he took away Mo Wuheng's brilliance. When Mo Wuheng saw the man from the Tai sect, his eyes flashed with jealousy, and he clenched his fists, feeling very uncomfortable. The beautiful woman in yellow said lightly, "St. Lotus sect's Xiao Ilian greets senior disciple Brother Lu. Congratulations on adding another moonlight warlock to your sect." The middle-aged man smiled and said, "Tai sect's Lai Heng greets senior disciple Brother Lu. Congratulations on adding another moonlight warlock to your sect." Lu Wuchen frowned imperceptibly, and then uttered with a faint smile, "Thank you. Please take a seat." The Tai sect and the St. Lotus sect took their seats. As soon as Lai Heng took his seat, he pointed to the handsome Tai sect disciple with an extraordinary temperament and said with a smile, "Senior disciple Brother Lu, this is my sect's holy son Yuanyang. The battle demon sect's battle secret method is unparalleled in the world. However, this kid doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. He wants to experience the mysteries of the battle demon sect's battle secret method. Senior disciple Brother Lu, please give him a chance. Have the true disciples of the battle demon sect teach him a lesson and let him know the immensity of heaven and earth." As soon as this statement came out, the atmosphere in the reception hall changed. Strange gazes shifted between Lai Heng and Lu Wuchen, but no one dared to speak out. The Saint Demon sect and the Corpse Demon sect of the 10 great sects of the Great Cloud dynasty were jointly boycotted by the other 8 great sections. However, the other 8 great sects were also at war with each other for the sake of their own interests, and there were endless conflicts between them. The Tai sect was the leader of the 10 great sects, far surpassing the Battle Demon sect. The relationship between the 2 sides was harmonious on the surface, but in private, they fought in secret. Although Lai Heng's words didn't seem to be rude on the surface, but if you think about it a little, you can feel the malice hidden in his words. He wanted to humiliate the Battle Demon sect during the Moonlight Ceremony. If no one in the Battle Demon sect could defeat Yuanyang, then once the news spread, the Battle Demon sect's reputation would plummet. Any genius warlock would want to enter a powerful sect to be their backing. Otherwise, Yang Feng wouldn't have racked his brains to enter the Battle Demon sect. Once the Battle Demon sect's reputation plummeted, it would have a huge impact on the sect. The leaders of the major forces who came to participate in the Moonlight Ceremony were also aware of this fact, which was why they had strange looks in their eyes and didn't dare to speak out casually. Although the Battle Demon sect wasn't as strong as the Tai sect, but it was still one of the 10 great sects of the Great Cloud dynasty. As long as it sent a few glorious Dawn Warlock-ranked powerhouses, it could destroy a sect. Naturally, the leaders of the major forces didn't dare to speak rashly. Lu Wuchen frowned slightly, and his eyes surged with anger as he stared at Lai Heng. Lai Heng, however, smiled and looked at Lu Wuchen. Yuanyang glanced at the many true disciples of the Battle Demon sect and said with a cold smile, "Martial Uncle Lu, the Battle Demon sect is famous all over the world. There shouldn't be a powerhouse who dares to fight me in the same realm, right?" Zhui Yifan stood up and said in a clear voice, "Sect Master, please let me fight. I've long heard that the Tai sect's Holy Son's 9 Brilliant Sons secret method is unparalleled in the world. I also want to experience the ability of the Tai sect's Holy Son and see if he is really as strong as the legends say." Lu Wuchen frowned slightly and waved his sleeve, "All right. In that case, you can have a good spar with that Zhui Yifan." Rays of resplendent light surged out of the hall and entered the center of the hall. Waves of spatial fluctuations formed an arena. Although the arena looked no more than 5 meters in diameter, but in fact, it was something else entirely. Spatial spells were used to open up an arena with a diameter of tens of kilometers. With the blessing of various spells, people on the outside could clearly see the fight inside the arena without worrying about the danger of spilling spells. Unless it was a fight between Bright World warlocks, only then would the arena be destroyed. Yuanyang smiled faintly, took a step forward, and, as graceful as an immortal, easily entered the arena. Zhui Yifan's figure fluttered, and he entered the arena as well. As soon as he entered the grand arena, Zhui Yifan silently recited an incantation, and a 10-meter-tall black battle demon suddenly appeared, turned into a black light and entered his body, allowing him to put on a layer of black armor. With his hands behind his back, Yuanyang said with a cold smile on his face, "Battle demon possession, black battle demon. This is one of the fundamental secret methods of the battle demon sect." What a disappointment! Zhui Yifan frowned slightly and said, "Yuanyang, are you still not going to use the 9 Brilliant Suns secret method?" The 9 Brilliant Suns secret method is one of the Tai sect's 13 core secret methods. Once cultivated to the peak, you can transform into a Great Sun Golden Crow or a Sun God Crow. Great Sun Golden Crow is the name of the Eastern world, while Sun God Crow is the name of the Western world. This is a fearsome secret method that can be practiced until the Warlock Monarch realm. To deal with you, I don't need to use the 9 Brilliant Suns secret method. With his hands behind his back, Yuanyang's eyes shimmered with ridicule. A rune flashed on his forehead, and a fearsome fire domain suddenly erupted and swept toward Zhui Yifan. The fire domain engulfed Zhui Yifan in an instant, and fire crows, fire snakes, fire dragons, and other spells formed from fire sprites swept toward Zhui Yifan with terrifying power. When swept by the fire domain, ordinary Starry Sky Warlock rank powerhouses would be burned to ashes. Zhui Yifan's face flickered, and he roared, and a battle domain suddenly broke out and enveloped an area 5 meters in radius around him. The battle domain and the fire domain intertwined and resisted the burning of the fire domain. Chapter 452. The flame domain released by Yuanyang was extremely violent. It was only a step away from the divine domain. If he chose to ascend to godhood, he could easily promote to a god of fire in another plane. Although Zhui Yifan released the war domain, but he was firmly suppressed by the flame domain. The space was almost burned and distorted by the flames surrounding him, making it almost impossible for him to budge. If he wasn't careful, he would be burned to ashes by the flames. Amazing! What a terrifying flame domain! That's the holy son of the Tai sect for you. The Tai sect has many geniuses and experts. To be able to become the holy son of the Tai sect, he's naturally very strong. But I didn't expect him to be so strong that even the personal disciples of the great elders of the Battle Demon sect can't take action. What a monster! When the warlocks of the major forces saw this scene, their faces changed dramatically, and they stared at Yuanyang with dignified looks in their eyes. In the Battle Demon sect, the complexions of the true disciples were unsightly. Yuanyang's strength was far beyond their expectations. Zhui Yifan, Zhang Hanshan, and Zhou Feng were personal disciples of the 3 great elders as well as the strongest Starry Sky warlocks in the Battle Demon sect. The 3 of them were quasi-Moonlight Warlock rank experts who were expected to promote to the Moonlight Warlock rank within 1,000 years. Yet such experts were suppressed by Yuanyang to the point that they couldn't even launch an attack. Yuanyang's strength was simply appalling. Zhang Hanshan and Zhou Feng frowned slightly when they saw the incomparably ferocious flame domain in the arena. Their eyes were filled with fear. When Zhong Sunan, who has been promoted to a true disciple, saw this scene, he felt a chill in his heart. If he was swept by the flame domain, which was infinitely close to the divine domain, he would be instantly engulfed and burned to ashes. Lu Wuchen's eyebrows wrinkled tightly. Lai Heng, however, showed a carefree smile. Yuanyang, I didn't expect you to be able to force me to this point. You really have some skill. However, it won't be that easy to defeat me. Zhui Yifan let out a fierce roar and flicked his finger. A blue level 6 artifact, the Heaven Water Bead, suddenly flew out. A long blue river swept towards Yuanyang with a terrifying power that could devour everything. Wherever the blue river passed, Yuanyang's flame domain was completely extinguished and instantly collapsed. Level 6 Secret Treasure. This treasure is indeed not bad, but it's a pity that the person using it is too weak. Yuanyang looked at the blue river sweeping towards him. He smiled faintly and did not dodge. The blue river instantly engulfed Yuanyang and eroded him crazily, turning him into black smoke. Zhui Yifan suddenly had a bad premonition in his heart, and the warning signs in his heart intensified. Countless scattered flames in the air instantly condensed into Yuanyang's body. He casually blasted a palm on Yuanyang's back, and an extremely violent flame power instantly entered Zhui Yifan's body. Zhui Yifan's body swayed, and he was sent flying like a broken rag doll. Flames rose all over his body, and he directly spat out a mouthful of flaming blood and fell to the ground. He was seriously injured and could no longer fight. The level 6 artifact, the Heaven Water Bead, also fell directly from the air because no one was controlling it. Lu Wuchen frowned slightly. He reached out and grabbed Zhui Yifan out of the arena. He scanned Zhui Yifan with his huge spirit force and found that although Zhui Yifan's physical body was seriously injured, his soul core was not injured. Lu Wuchen breathed a sigh of relief and directly poured a bottle of potion into Zhui Yifan's mouth. A battle demon sect disciple quickly stepped forward and carried Zhui Yifan away. Yuanyang turned around, looked at the many true disciples of the battle demon sect, smiled contemptuously, and said provocatively, "That one really disappoints me. The battle demon sect is known as the #1 internal fighting secret method of the 10 great sects, yet the disciples of the sect can't even resist 10% of my strength. What a disappointment! Who else dares to fight me?" The true disciples of the battle demon sect focused their attention on Zhang Hanshan and Zhou Feng. In the battle demon sect, the two strongest Starry Sky Warlock rank experts were the two of them. Zhang Hanshan and Zhou Feng's complexions were ashen, and they clenched their fists in silence. Their strength was similar to Zhui Yifan's. Facing Yuanyang would only be asking for humiliation. Yuanyang smiled faintly, then his gaze focused on Shi Shui and he challenged, "Fine, since the battle demon sect Starry Sky Warlock rank true disciples don't dare to fight me, then I'll give you a chance to save face. Junior disciple sister Shi Shui, I want to fight you, please grant my wish." Yang Feng, who was sitting aside and quietly watching all this, raised his eyebrows, and his eyes shimmered with a cold ray. Yuanyang dares to challenge her, how audacious. She's a Moonlight Warlock. So what if he's a Moonlight Warlock? Zhui Yifan is also a Moonlight Warlock rank expert. But he was still easily defeated by Yuanyang. Although Fairy Shi Shui has promoted to a Moonlight Warlock in just 30 years, but her foundation may not be solid, and she may not be Yuanyang's opponent. Obscure fluctuations reverberated among the leaders of the major forces as they communicated with each other. Although they didn't dare to discuss the 10 great sects face to face, but they had no problem communicating through secret methods. Lu Wuchen frowned, his eyes flashed coldly, and he stared at Yuanyang, his heart full of anger. Shi Shui has just promoted to a Moonlight Warlock, and her foundation was unstable. Once she was defeated by Yuanyang, it would leave a psychological shadow, and her future cultivation might become more difficult. If there were no mishaps, Shi Shui wouldn't have much of a problem becoming a Bright World Warlock in the future. Lu Wuchen knew that the Tai Yi sect came here not only to humiliate the Battle Demon sect, but also to strike at Shi Shui's confidence and make the peerless genius of the Battle Demon sect fall on the path of growth. Junior disciple sister, why do you need to step in? Yuanyang, originally, I didn't want to bully the weak. But since you're so arrogant and want to fight a Moonlight Warlock, then I'll let you have a taste of the Battle Demon sect's secret method. Mo Wuheng snorted coldly, got up, and walked towards Yuanyang. With him as the core, fearsome Moonlight Warlock rank aura spread in all directions. Traces of purifying light suddenly lit up in the hall, purifying Mo Wuheng's life force field. If Mo Wuheng's fearsome Moonlight Warlock rank life force field was allowed to spread, many objects in the hall would be distorted and transformed into strange phenomena. Yi Yuanyang turned around, glanced at Mo Wuheng, smiled faintly, and stepped into the arena. So it's senior disciple brother Mo Wuheng. Since senior disciple brother Mo is willing to fight me, then I'll defeat you first, and then challenge junior disciple sister Shi Shui. As if a dragon overlooking an ant, Mo Wuheng said contemptuously, Yi Yuanyang, go ahead. I'd like to see what you've got. In that case, senior disciple brother Mo, I won't stand on ceremony. Yi Yuanyang smiled slightly, and a fearsome fire domain suddenly erupted and swept towards Mo Wuheng with him as the core. The fire domain released by Yi Yuanyang was more than twice as powerful as the one he used against Shui Yifan. If careless, ordinary Moonlight Warlocks would be engulfed by the fire domain and burned to ashes. Humph! A trifling fire domain, break! Mo Wuheng smiled coldly and spread the fingers of a hand, and a huge black whirlpool suddenly appeared in his right hand. Like a huge black hole, the black whirlpool engulfed all the power in the fire domain. When Yi Yuanyang saw this scene, he smiled and exclaimed in admiration, Battle Demon Devour Whirlpool Secret Method. Senior disciple brother Mo, your strength is really extraordinary. The Battle Demon Devour Whirlpool Secret Method was a secret method of the Battle Demon sect that could engulf all kinds of magic power and transform it for its own use for a short period of time. When cultivated to the pinnacle, the Battle Demon Devour Whirlpool Secret Method could even engulf a grade 9 plane and grind it to pieces. Here you go. Mo Wuheng smiled coldly. With a flick of his finger, endless flames suddenly erupted and condensed into a 100-meter-long raging fire dragon. With a terrifying aura that could incinerate everything, it directly pounced towards Yi Yuanyang. In a breath of time, the violent fire dragon engulfed Yi Yuanyang and burned him frantically. Containing the power of Yi Yuanyang's fire domain, the violent fire dragon could even burn a Moonlight Warlock to ashes. Senior disciple brother Mo, you really aren't a good-for-nothing like Shui Yifan. It won't be that easy to defeat you. Fine, I'll let you experience my 9 brilliant suns secret method. Yi Yuanyang's voice rang out from within the incomparably violent flames. A ferocious and peerless aura rose from the endless flames. A crimson gold sun python that was 100 meters long appeared in front of everyone. It was covered in 9 small sun-like light balls and had a single horn on its head. Its entire body was burning with surging golden sun flames. A terrifying aura that seemed to be able to burn everything into ashes gushed out from the crimson gold sun python's body, spreading out in all directions. When Mo Wuheng saw this scene, his face suddenly changed dramatically, and he exclaimed, Red Gold Sun Python. You've cultivated the 9 Brilliant Suns secret method to this level. The 9 Brilliant Suns secret method was one of the fundamental methods of the Tai Yi sect. After cultivating this secret method, one could transform into a terrifying extraordinary life form at each stage. There were a total of 9 stages. The 9 stages were Fire Elemental, Fire Fairy, Fire Snake, Fire Dragon, Fire-Eating Dragon Eagle, Red Gold Sun Python, Sun God Dragon, Sun Child, and Great Sun Golden Crow. Chapter 453. Generally, the Tai Yi sect's warlocks would only be able to cultivate the Red Gold Sun Python transformation after they reached the Glorious Dawn Warlock rank. Yi Yuanyang was just a Starry Sky Warlock, yet he has already cultivated the 9 Brilliant Suns secret method to the Red Gold Sun Python transformation, which was simply heaven-defying. If Yi Yuanyang didn't die during his growth and had sufficient cultivation resources, he would have promoted to a Glorious Dawn Warlock in the future. Lu Wuchen stared at the Red Gold Sun Python with a gloomy expression. There was a complicated gleam in Zhang Hanshan's beautiful eyes, and she sighed faintly, so strong. As expected of the Tai Yi sect's holy son. How terrifying. I thought that junior disciple Sister Shi Shui was already a rare genius, but I didn't expect him to be able to cultivate the Red Gold Sun Python transformation. Zhou Feng exclaimed with a look of shock on his face, impossible. How is that possible? With his Starry Sky Warlock rank cultivation base, no matter how heaven-defying he is, he should only be able to cultivate the fire-eating dragon eagle transformation. How could he have cultivated the red gold sun python transformation? The red gold sun python was an extraordinary life form born from the sun and fed on golden sun flames. It was an extraordinary life form comparable to gods and demons. The golden sun flames burning all over its body could even burn a glorious dawn warlock to ashes. Someone from the Great Cloud Dynasty once went to hunt a red gold sun python. As a result, a glorious dawn warlock and 5 moonlight warlocks died, yet they still failed to kill the red gold sun python. The terror of the red gold sun python could be imagined. A look of shock on his face, Mo Wuheng retreated repeatedly. Red gold sun python. How is that possible? How could you have cultivated to the red gold sun python transformation? The level 6 secret treasure golden sun flame bead. You borrowed the power of the level 6 secret treasure golden sun flame bead. After all, Mo Wuheng was an outstanding moonlight warlock of the battle demon sect. He suppressed the shock in his heart and looked at the red gold sun python. His eyes shone with black light. At a glance, he could see that there were 5 magic power sources ejecting terrific fire force inside the red gold sun python. That's right, I borrowed the power of the secret treasure to promote the 9 brilliant suns secret method to the red gold sun python transformation. Senior apprentice brother Mo, to be defeated by this transformation, you can be considered a glorious defeat. The scarlet gold sun python revealed a hint of ridicule. It opened its bloody mouth and spurted out golden sun flames that contained the power to burn mountains and boil seas. It turned into a sea of golden flames that contained the light of the sun and swept towards Mo Wuheng. Mo Wuheng's complexion changed dramatically. His face became dignified, no longer as relaxed as before. He frantically operated his secret technique, and a black war demon suddenly appeared, attached to his body, and condensed into a set of black battle armor. Mo Wuheng displayed the battle demon devouring vortex secret technique. He spread his fingers, and a huge black hole that seemed capable of devouring everything suddenly appeared and swept towards the golden sun flames. The nearly endless golden sun flames were swallowed by the huge black whirlpool. The next moment, Mo Wuheng's face suddenly changed, and he retreated rapidly. Rumble. The black vortex that devoured the golden sun flames burst open, and countless wisps of golden sun flames scattered and distorted the space in the center of the explosion. Countless golden sun flames spluttered and fell on Mo Wuheng's body, burning frantically. The black battle armor enveloping Mo Wuheng swept out with black chi and extinguished the remnants of the golden sun flames. Mo Wuheng turned into a black ray of light and retreated frantically, evading the golden sun flames that swept towards him. Mo Wuheng uttered indifferently, "So that's how it is. You haven't fully mastered the scarlet gold sun python transformation. Otherwise, that blow just now would have defeated me." When a truly matured scarlet gold sun python opened its maw, the golden sun flames could cover an area of 1,000 kilometers. Fast as lightning, it could burn Mo Wuheng to ashes with a single blow. Yuanyang's incarnation of the scarlet gold sun python showed a strange smile, his eyes shone brightly, and the speed of the golden sun flames suddenly doubled. The incomparably violent golden sun flames covered the sky and swept towards Mo Wuheng. "Don't think that you're the only one with secret treasures, Yuanyang." Mo Wuheng's eyes flashed with anger. He extended his hand, and a dazzling golden sword with a golden dragon coiled around it appeared in his hand. The sword with a golden dragon coiled around it was a level 6 secret treasure called the Scarlet Gold Dragon King Sword. Mo Wuheng spent hundreds of years collecting materials, and then asked a battle demon sect's refiner grandmaster to refine this secret treasure. It possessed terrifying power. Dark Extinction Arc Light Slash. Killing intent surged in Mo Wuheng's eyes, and he slashed madly. Pouring the war force and the law of war transformed from the bloodshed domain into the Golden Dragon King Sword, he unleashed the Dark Extinction Arc Light Slash, one of the battle demon sect's 36 first-rate extermination secret methods. All of a sudden, a black arc light slashed out. The law of war surged violently, split the golden sun flames in two, and then, carrying the aura of nirvanic extermination, tore through the void and slashed towards Yuanyang. At the time, Mo Wuheng relied on the Dark Extinction Arc Light Slash to slay the white-faced ghost devil Wei Cheng when he was careless. This was also his strongest trump card. Dark Extinction Arc Light Slash. Senior disciple brother Mo is really talented. You even mastered this extermination secret method. Unfortunately, it's still not enough to hurt me. An ancient scarlet shield engraved with the pattern of the sun's child suddenly flew out, surrounded by countless golden sun flames, and blocked in front of the Dark Extinction Arc Light Slash. When the Dark Extinction Arc Light Slash hit the ancient scarlet shield, it split the countless golden sun flames, left a white mark on the ancient scarlet shield, and then collapsed and dissipated. It's impolite not to reciprocate. Senior disciple brother Mo, take this as well. The eyes of Yuanyang's incarnation of the red gold sun python shone brightly, and the 9 spheres of light revolving around the red gold sun python quickly flew out and formed a strange enneagram. Countless golden sun flames converged in the enneagram, and a thumbthick golden sun flame god ray shot out from the center of the enneagram and barreled towards Mo Wuheng. Mo Wuheng's face fell, and he silently recited an incantation and instantly cast blink. A spatial fluctuation enveloped him, and he tried to teleport 100 meters away. But the spatial fluctuation had just condensed when it collapsed, and the thumbthick golden sun flame god ray slammed into Mo Wuheng in the blink of an eye, easily penetrated his life force field and black armor, and entered his body. Golden sun flames gushed out of Mo Wuheng's facial orifices and burned him to the ground, and he struggled and groaned in pain. The golden sun flames could seriously injure or even burn glorious dawn warlocks to ashes. Naturally, Mo Wuheng couldn't resist the golden sun flames. You have won this battle. Lu Wuchen sighed slightly, reached out, and grabbed Mo Wuheng out of the arena. Then, with a slap of his hand, a powerful life force entered Mo Wuheng's body and forced out the golden sun flames. Then, with a wave of his hand, Lu Wuchen extinguished the golden sun flames in his body. The red gold sun python collapsed in an instant and changed back into Yuanyang. He stood proudly on the arena like an invincible emperor, overflowing with domineering aura and incomparably proud. The gazes of many beauties were focused on Yuanyang. Their beautiful eyes revealed a trace of admiration. So strong. This Yuanyang is worthy of being the holy son of the Tai Yi sect, he's so strong. What a fearsome guy. To be able to defeat a Moonlight Warlock of the Battle Demon sect with a Starry Sky Warlock rank cultivation base, his strength is simply heaven-defying. The Tai Yi sect's 9 Brilliant Suns secret method is really powerful. With Yuanyang so powerful, I'm afraid that Shui is no match for him. The Battle Demon sect is destined to be suppressed by the Tai Yi sect. The leaders of the major forces conversed vaguely with their spirit fluctuations, not daring to discuss openly. Yuanyang uttered with a smile, "Senior disciple brother Mo Wuheng is really extraordinary, to be able to force me to use 50% of my strength. The Battle Demon sect's secret method sure has its merits." When he heard this, Lu Wuchen's face became even more gloomy. The complexions of everyone in the Battle Demon sect flickered, and their eyes shimmered with anger. Mo Wuheng was a Moonlight Warlock rank expert. The implication of Yuanyang's words was that the Battle Demon sect's Moonlight Warlock rank experts were only able to force him to use 50% of his strength. As for the Battle Demon sect's secret method, it was even less of a match for the Tai Yi sect's secret method. But Yuanyang was indeed very strong. The top Moonlight Warlocks of the Battle Demon sect were either traveling around or quelling freaks in places similar to the demonic realm. There was no one who was qualified to fight him, let alone defeat him. A glorious Dawn Warlock like Lu Wuchen could naturally defeat Yuanyang easily. However, if they fought Yuanyang in person, then even if they won, they would lose face and be labeled as bullying the weak. Yuanyang's gaze focused on Shui, and he revealed a smile that could enchant countless girls. "Junior disciple sister Shui, now it's time for you to fight me, right? Or is it that the Battle Demon sect doesn't even have the courage to fight me?" Everyone's eyes focused on Yi Yuanyang and Shi Shui. If Shi Shui refused to fight Yi Yuanyang, then the Battle Demon sect would lose a lot of face. But if Shi Shui was seriously injured by Yi Yuanyang, then this future Bright World Warlock may not be able to smoothly advance to the Bright World Warlock realm and attack the Infinity Warlock realm. Who do you think you are to fight my sister? You're courting death and overestimating yourself. Since you came to challenge the Battle Demon sect, then I'll grant you a defeat and let you know the immensity of heaven and earth. At this moment, a voice of ridicule came from the side. In the reception hall, countless eyes looked in the direction of the voice and focused on Yang Feng. Chapter 454. A look of surprise on her face, Zhang Hanshan's gaze fell on Yang Feng and flickered with incredulity. It's him. Junior disciple brother Yang. Taken aback, Zhou Feng's gaze also fell on Yang Feng, and he frowned. Junior disciple brother Yang, you're too impulsive. Zhong Sunan also frowned. It's him. Senior disciple brother Yang Feng. It's too early for him to challenge Yi Yuanyang. Zhang Hanshan and the other true disciples of the Battle Demon sect knew that Yang Feng's strength was extraordinary. Few Starry Sky Warlocks were his opponent. But Yi Yuanyang could defeat Moonlight Warlocks, and his strength was comparable to that of gods. No one thought that Yang Feng was his opponent. Yi Yuanyang's face sank, and he turned to look at Yang Feng. His star-like eyes flickered with frigid killing intent. Since his debut, this was the first time that someone dared to speak to him like this. Shi Shui was like a gem blossoming with resplendent rays of light. She smiled sweetly. Elder brother, you don't need to take action. This ignorant fool, I'll defeat him. Yang Feng smiled, completely ignoring Yi Yuanyang, and stepped forward. Shui, you have a Moonlight Warlock rank cultivation base. Fighting him is bullying the weak. Only when I defeat him will he be convinced and understand that he's just a waste. Yi Yuanyang's gaze congealed slightly, and his eyes shimmered with contempt, and he sneered, a trifling great warlock dares to challenge me, what an overestimate yourself. You're not qualified to fight me. Wait until you promote to a Starry Sky Warlock, and then I'll consider whether or not to fight you. Yang Feng retorted sarcastically, according to you, what qualifications does a Starry Sky Warlock like you have to challenge my younger sister? My younger sister is a Moonlight Warlock. You trash, wait until you practice cultivation to the Moonlight Warlock realm, and then come challenge my younger sister. However, by that time, my younger sister will have already promoted to a glorious Dawn Warlock, and she'll be able to squish an ant like you to death. Yi Yuanyang smiled coldly and stepped into the arena. Fine, since you're here to seek humiliation, then I'll fulfill your wish and accept your challenge. Lu Wuchen frowned slightly, his eyes flashed with worry, and he asked, Yang Feng, are you confident? In the Great Sect competition, Yang Feng defeated Zhong Sunan, which made people have a whole new level of respect for him. But even so, Lu Wuchen didn't think that Yang Feng could compete with Yi Yuanyang. Yang Feng uttered with a smile, Sect Master, please let me try. Lu Wuchen pondered for a while and nodded. Yang Feng stepped into the arena. Great Warlock. He actually challenged Yi Yuanyang with the cultivation base of a Great Warlock. He's really reckless. Even the Moonlight Warlock rank expert Imo Wuheng of the Battle Demon sect was defeated by Yi Yuanyang. For a Great Warlock to challenge Yi Yuanyang, he's really reckless. Spirit fluctuations reverberated in the area, and gazes full of ridicule focused on Yang Feng. The corners of Zhao Ilian's mouth rose slightly, and she revealed a sneer, what a fool. A trifling Great Warlock dares to challenge Yi Yuanyang. How foolish, how disappointing. It seems that the personal disciples of the Battle Demon sect's 4 great elders are getting worse with each generation. The gaze of the peerlessly beautiful woman, who looked like a pure white immortal lotus, fell on Yang Feng, and she said thoughtfully, that's not necessarily the case. For him to dare to challenge Yi Yuanyang, he must have some skill. This battle may be far beyond our expectations. Zhao Ilian's beautiful eyes flashed with a dignified gleam, and she asked curiously, why do you think so? The beautiful woman who looks like a white lotus in front of her is the Saint Lotus sect's current holy daughter Bai Yilian. She was also the most outstanding genius of this generation in the Saint Lotus sect. She was extremely intelligent and knowledgeable. Bai Yilian said lightly, "This person once harvested hundreds of millions of merit points in less than a month in the demonic realm's black ink war zone. He's definitely not a simple person." Zhao Lilian inhaled a breath of cold air, and her gaze fell on Yang Feng, and her beautiful eyes shimmered with graveness. To be able to harvest hundreds of millions of merit points in less than a month in a damned place like the demonic realm, this person really isn't simple. With a flick of his wrist, the God Armament Holy Flame sword appeared in Yang Feng's hand, and he said lightly, "Yuan Yang, I don't want to bully the weak, so I'll give you a chance. Make the first move." It was the first time that Yuan Yang was so despised by someone, moreover by a trifling great warlock. His eyes flashed with a touch of anger, and he said coldly, "Very well, since that's the case, then turn into ashes for me." A fire domain containing violent fire elemental particles suddenly erupted and enveloped Yang Feng in an instant. Countless fire crows, fire snakes, and fire dragons suddenly appeared in the fire domain and rushed towards Yang Feng. The entire arena was enveloped by the incomparably violent flames. Even though they were outside the arena, everyone present could still feel a scorching aura rushing towards them. The hearts of Zhang Hanshan and the other battle demon sect disciples tightened slightly, and they had dignified looks on their faces. The faces of several weaker true disciples even turned pale. The fire domain released by Yuan Yang could burn them to ashes in an instant. "Is that all? Bring out your 9 brilliant sons, or else you won't be my opponent." Yang Feng's voice came from the sea of fire. The countless flames in the fire domain churned wildly, turned into a flame vortex, and entered the God Armament Holy Flame sword in Yang Feng's hand. Within a few breaths of time, the fire domain collapsed and disappeared. A level 6 secret treasure? No, this is a God armament from another plane. I didn't expect you to have some skill. Yuan Yang glanced at the God Armament Holy Flame sword in Yang Feng's hand, smiled coldly, silently recited an incantation, flicked his finger, and cast the level 5 spell Starfire Butterflies. Fire elemental particles surged, and palm-sized starfire butterflies full of intelligence containing fearsome fire elemental particles flew out. Virtually in a breath of time, tens of thousands of starfire butterflies covered the area, turned into rays of fire, and swept towards Yang Feng. The demonic starfire butterfly was an extremely powerful secret technique. Each demonic starfire butterfly contained a terrifying flame power that was only slightly inferior to the golden sun flame. Even if it was a starry sky warlock, they would be easily burned to ashes by the starfire butterflies. "Is that all you got?" The Holy Son of the Tai Yi sect really disappoints me. You can't even force me to use 10% of my strength. Yang Feng smiled coldly and stabbed with the God Armament Holy Flame sword in his hand. The law of fire surged, and a fearsome vortex gushed out of the Holy Flame sword. As if moths flying into a flame, the tens of thousands of starfire butterflies were drawn into the fearsome vortex and devoured one by one. A cold look in his eyes, Yuan Yang barked, "Explode." The starfire butterflies exploded in an instant, turned into flames, blasted apart the whirlpool, and swept towards Yang Feng. Yang Feng waved his hand, and the Holy Flame sword produced 9 vortexes that frantically devoured the flames of the starfire butterflies. In the midst of the flames, a ray of fire flickered and formed Yuan Yang's true body in the blink of an eye. His eyes flashed with a sneer, and he sent a palm barreling towards Yang Feng's heart from behind. This was the Tai Yi sect's flame light fire body conversion method, which was an extremely profound secret method. After mastering this secret method, Yuan Yang could freely shuttle between different kinds of flames, appearing and disappearing unpredictably. Just when Yuan Yang was about to hit Yang Feng, as if he had eyes on the back of his head, Yang Feng leaned to the side and slammed a meteor-like palm into Yuan Yang's abdomen, and a violent force erupted in an instant and blasted into Yuan Yang's body. Yuan Yang's face fell, and he spewed out a mouthful of flaming blood. Then, His body collapsed and turned into specks of flames that disappeared. In the next moment, countless flames suddenly surged and formed Yi Yuanyang's true body in the place where Yuanyang was originally standing. But at this time, blood flowed from the corners of his mouth, and he cut a sorry figure. He looked at Yang Feng with a dignified look in his eyes. Yi Yuanyang was injured. How is this possible? How could Yi Yuanyang be injured? Yi Yuanyang was actually injured. He's just a great warlock. In the main hall, the leaders of the major forces were dumbfounded when they saw this scene, and they couldn't believe their eyes. Yi Yuanyang, who even defeated a powerful moonlight warlock like Mo Wuheng, was now injured by a great warlock rank Yang Feng. It was as inconceivable as a dragon being sent flying by a punch from an ant. The smile on Lai Heng's face stiffened, his eyes shimmered with incredulity, and he stared at Yang Feng standing in place. Lu Wuchen's furrowed brows relaxed, and a smile appeared on his face. Even if Yang Feng admitted defeat now, the Battle Demons sect would still gain a lot of face. Zhang Hanshan heaved a long sigh, her beautiful eyes shimmered with enigmatic light, and she said with a charming smile, "Junior disciple Brother Yang is really strong. I misjudged him." Zhou Feng shook his head, a smile on his face. "This pair of brother and sister are freaks." Zhao Ilian's beautiful eyes shimmered with graveness, and she said solemnly, "You're right, he's really extraordinary. He's far beyond our expectations." Bai Ilian stared at Yang Feng with an enigmatic gleam in her beautiful eyes. With his hands behind his back, Yang Feng glanced at Yi Yuanyang, raised the corners of his mouth, and said condescendingly, "Yi Yuanyang, you've just fought 2 battles in a row, so you must have consumed a lot of spirit force. I'll allow you to drink a few vials of potions and rest for a few hours. I don't want you to complain that I'm bullying the weak, taking advantage of your difficulties, and winning with an unfair advantage." Chapter 455. Yi Yuanyang's eyes revealed a bone-piercing coldness, he revealed a smile that could make people shudder, and his words were as cold as ice. "There's no need to rest after defeating a trifling great warlock like you." Yi Yuanyang silently recited an incantation and pointed with a finger, and green runes gushed out of his finger and formed a green hexagram midair. A green beam of light shot out of the hexagram, and a battle soul wearing a green armor and exuding a fearsome fighting spirit walked out of the green hexagram and entered Yi Yuanyang's body. A vast and terrifying battle aura spread out from Yi Yuanyang's body, giving off a terrifying feeling. This is the Tai Yi sect's Battle Soul Summon. This is the Battle Soul Summon known as one of the 36 strongest battle spells. It seems that Yi Yuanyang wants to defeat Yang Feng in close combat. The Battle Demon sect's secret method is known as unparalleled in close combat, second to none among body-tempering warlocks. Yi Yuanyang wants to use Battle Soul Summon to defeat Yang Feng in one fell swoop. As soon as they saw the Battle Soul wearing a green armor enter Yi Yuanyang's body, the faces of the leaders of the major forces changed at once, and they commented spiritedly. Battle Soul Summon was one of the strongest close combat secret methods of the Tai Yi sect. In the Tai Yi sect, there was a level 9 secret treasure Heavenly Secrets Battle Soul Temple. The Heavenly Secrets Battle Soul Temple enshrined the souls of countless powerful heroes who died in battle and transformed into battle souls. In the Heavenly Secret Hall of Fighting Spirits, the fighting spirits fought day and night without rest, tempering their fighting skills through countless tempering. Battle Soul summoned a powerful battle soul from the Heavenly Secrets Battle Soul Temple and possessed it. Once the battle soul possessed the body, any warlock would obtain the various battle skills mastered by the battle soul. With a flick of his wrist, a 2-meter-long green dragon spear engraved with countless mysterious runes appeared in Yi Yuanyang's hand. He pointed at Yang Feng, and an invincible and fearsome aura of a veteran who has run amok in the world spread in all directions. Yi Yuanyang said with a cold smile, "The battle soul I summoned was called Dragon Slayer Freitas. With demigod rank power, he once slaughtered 136 Inglong with this storm dragon spear. Among them, 3 were Moonlight Warlock rank Inglong. It's your honor to be defeated by such an expert." The winged dragon was a winged dragon, which was what the Western world referred to as a giant dragon. The Western world and the Eastern world had many different names, but in reality, they were the same thing. Yang Feng said lightly, "Battle soul summon. Even with the battle's soul possession, you are still no match for me." Yi Yuanyang smiled coldly. The law of wind of the god armament storm dragon spear surged in his hand, and a violent gale enveloped him. Suddenly, a gust of wind rose in the grand arena. Yi Yuanyang's body blurred, and he appeared in front of Yang Feng in the blink of an eye. 8 avatars appeared at once and stabbed at Yang Feng from 8 directions. Yang Feng's eyes constricted, and he unleashed the demonic fighting sword art. The holy flame sword flickered with fire and turned into numerous fire shadows sweeping in all directions. Ding! 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 Appearing and disappearing like a ghost, the storm dragon spear stabbed at Yang Feng from tricky and strange angles like a storm. In the blink of an eye, the holy flame sword and Yang Feng's holy flame sword clashed more than 100 times. With the battle soul possession of the dragon slayer Ritas, Yi Yuanyang seems to have transformed into a battle-hardened dragon slayer who has slaughtered countless dragons. The violent storm dragon spear suppressed Yang Feng, and countless violent wind blades slashed at Yang Feng, leaving him with numerous wounds and dripping with blood. After hundreds of rounds of fierce fighting, Yang Feng suddenly raised his sword to block, and then retreated briskly by hundreds of meters in an instant. He glanced at the numerous wounds on his body and said indifferently, "Battle soul summon is really extraordinary. It seems that I have to show a little of my true ability." A formidable life force gushed out, and a cyan battle demon suddenly appeared, attached to Yang Feng, and formed a cyan armor. Battle demon's secret method. Cyan battle demon. What can a trifling cyan battle demon do to you? You can't even cultivate the battle demon sect's fundamental secret method. How disappointing. Yi Yuanyang smiled coldly, then suddenly shot out like a gust of wind, transformed into numerous spear afterimages, and swept towards Yang Feng like the incarnation of a storm dragon. Yang Feng's eyes constricted, and he unleashed the battle demon sword art to the limit, transformed into numerous sword afterimages, and engaged Yi Yuanyang in a fierce fight. A storm dragon and a berserk fire dragon appeared in the arena and fought wildly, and fearsome fluctuations of power spread in all directions. Amazing! The Tai Yi sect isn't good at body-tempering warlocks. I didn't expect the battle soul summon to be so powerful. The battle demon sect's Yang Feng is also extraordinary, far stronger than ordinary starry sky warlocks. He's just a great warlock. That's really scary. No wonder he's a personal disciple of the battle demon sect's 4 great elders. Even though they were outside the arena, but the spectating warlocks could still feel the strength and fearsomeness of the 2 people fighting in the arena. They commented animatedly, full of praise. Unfortunately, the gap between Yang Feng and Yi Yuanyang is still too big. That's right. He can't even force Yi Yuanyang to use the 9 brilliant suns secret method. He's going to be defeated by Yi Yuanyang's battle soul possession. The eyes of the representatives from the major forces shimmered with regret. In the arena, Yang Feng's incarnation of the fire dragon was already struggling to hold on. From time to time, small wounds appeared on his body, and drops of blood dripped to the ground. Lu Wuchen's eyebrows suddenly smoothed out, and he revealed a smile. Lai Heng, on the other hand, frowned, and didn't say a word. The powerful warlocks with Moonlight Warlock rank cultivation bases and above stared at Yang Feng with shock and admiration in their eyes. Zhang Hanshan stared at Yang Feng, then suddenly smoothed out her eyebrows and sighed faintly, "What a monster." To use Yi Yuanyang to temper himself. Zhou Feng's eyes shimmered with an enigmatic glint, revealing a complicated glint. He had already seen that Yang Feng's demonic fighting sword art had already become more and more skillful from its original immaturity. With an impenetrable defense of 1 meter in front of him, he was slowly recovering the situation, and the number of wounds on his body was getting fewer and fewer. "All right. You're useless now." Suddenly, Yang Feng smiled faintly. A resplendent silver light shone, and a silver battle demon suddenly appeared and attached itself to him. After the silver battle demon attached itself to him, Yang Feng's speed suddenly soared by a large margin. The holy flame sword in his hand drew a strange arc. In the blink of an eye, the holy flame sword vibrated 9 times in a row, sending the storm dragon spear flying. The holy flame sword turned into a graceful streak of light that stabbed towards Yi Yuanyang's head. Yi Yuanyang's complexion changed dramatically. A gust of wind rose around him, and his head twisted strangely. The holy flame sword brushed past Yi Yuanyang's face, and the fearsome fire force burned a small half of Yi Yuanyang's handsome face. Yang Feng took the opportunity to step forward and hit Yi Yuanyang in the abdomen with his palm. Along with flashes of fire, Yi Yuanyang collapsed and turned into countless flames, which instantly condensed hundreds of meters away. But there was a huge scar on the left side of his face, and his complexion was very unsightly. Yang Feng's eyes shimmered with ridicule, and he sneered, "My battle demon sword art is still rather immature. Thank you for helping me practice this sword art, Yi Yuanyang, so that I can thoroughly master this sword art. However, Yi Yuanyang, your Dragon Slayer battle soul is really too weak. It can't even force my golden battle demon out, which is really disappointing. You should summon the Tai Yi sect's 12 battle souls to fight me. Presumably, the 12 battle souls should be able to force my golden battle demon out." Yi Yuanyang's complexion turned extremely unsightly. He operated a secret method, and wisps of life force pervaded the left side of his face and slowly removed the scar. "Yang Feng, very well, I'll let you experience my 9 brilliant suns secret method." There was a flash of killing intent in Yi Yuanyang's eyes, and he flicked his finger and dispelled the battle's soul possession. He silently recited an incantation, and endless flames enveloped him in an instant. In the endless flames, the crimson gold sun python appeared once again. A boundless, terrifying pressure spread in all directions. As soon as the red gold sun python appeared, it stared at Yang Feng, opened its maw, and endless golden sun flames shot out and swept towards Yang Feng. The golden sun flames were enough to seriously injure a moonlight warlock and burn a starry sky warlock to ashes. If a great warlock like Yang Feng was touched by the golden sun flames, only death would await him. When Lu Wuchen saw this scene, his face fell, and he was about to get up and stop the fight. The power of the golden sun flames was too terrifying. Yang Feng was just a trifling great warlock. Once he was touched by the golden sun flames, he might not be able to save Yang Feng. Lai Heng snorted coldly, and a glorious sun warlock rank life force slowly spread. In the battle demon sect, Lai Heng was naturally not Lu Wuchen's opponent. However, he could still obstruct Lu Wuchen for a quarter of an hour. Besides, the Tai Yi sect was the leader of the 10 great sects, so Lai Heng didn't have to worry about Lu Wuchen killing them. In the reception hall, the atmosphere became tense. The experts of the battle demon sect glared at Lai Heng, and a tyrannical life force slowly spread out, as if they would turn hostile at any time. Chapter 456. Facing the tyrannical auras locking onto him, Lai Heng wasn't afraid at all. He uttered with a faint smile, "Senior disciple Brother Lu, this is a fair duel between juniors. Are you going to step in and bully the weak?" Lu Wuchen frowned, his eyes flickered, and he stared at the arena. If Yang Feng's life was in danger, then even if he had to bear the infamy of bullying the weak, he would still step in and rescue Yang Feng. In the arena, Yang Feng's eyes constricted, and his life force erupted in a flash, and a gold battle demon suddenly appeared. After the gold battle demon appeared, it blurred and turned into a black battle demon that fell from the sky, landed on Yang Feng, and doubled his battle prowess. Zhang Hanshan's pretty face flickered, and her eyes flickered with heartfelt admiration. Black battle demon. Amazing! Junior disciple Brother Yang has cultivated a black battle demon for less than 30 years, how fearsome! Zhou Feng's eyebrows smoothed out, and he sighed with a complicated mood. Both brother and sister are freakish geniuses. When Zhong Sunan saw this, he smiled bitterly, and a sense of dejection welled up inside him. Black Battle Demon. He actually practiced cultivation to this extent. At the time of the Great Sect competition, he didn't use his full strength. I'm afraid that he didn't even use 10% of his strength. As the #1 inner sect disciple of the fighting demonic sect, Zhong Sunan had always been very proud of himself. After he was promoted to a true disciple of the fighting demonic sect, his cultivation advanced by leaps and bounds, and he wholeheartedly wanted to challenge Yang Feng again. But when he saw this scene, he understood that the gap between him and Yang Feng was like an insurmountable chasm. After all, when he challenged Yang Feng easily defeated him without using any secret methods of the fighting demonic sect. After the Black Battle Demon possessed him, Yang Feng was covered in a black armor with astonishing defensive strength, and his speed suddenly doubled. With the God Armament Holy Flame sword in hand, Yang Feng silently recited an incantation and stabbed with his hand. The law of fire surged, turned into a whirlpool, and engulfed the golden sun flames. After the golden sun flames were absorbed, the holy flame sword became more and more resplendent. However, it only lasted for about half a quarter of an hour, when the holy flame sword transmitted a feeling of satiety. Clearly, it could no longer absorb the golden sun flames. While evading the golden sun flames, Yang Feng frowned slightly and mused, what now? Did he have to use the primal chaos annihilation fist? I haven't learned the powerful offensive secret techniques of the Battle Demon sect. Yang Feng advanced too quickly. Apart from cultivating the Battle Demon's secret method, he didn't practice any other powerful offensive secret methods of the Battle Demon sect. As for the various spells Yang Feng currently grasped, they couldn't harm Yuan Yang, who had already transformed into a red gold sun python. Even with level 5 spells, only over 100 level 5 single-target offensive spells would be able to injure the red gold sun python that Yuan Yang had transformed into. This was the terror of the Tai Yi sect's 9 brilliant suns mystic art. 10,000 disintegrate and fireball spells couldn't even destroy a single scale on the body of the red gold sun python. Yang Feng's eyes flickered with the light of wisdom. One after another, countermeasures emerged, and then he rejected them. Got it. Yang Feng's eyes lit up. He spread the fingers of a hand, and a strange whirlpool suddenly appeared, devoured the golden sun flames, and then sent them into the semi-plane in his sea of knowledge. When the golden sun flames appeared in Yang Feng's semi-plane, primal chaos force twisted and smashed the golden sun flames, turning them into fire elemental particles that reverberated in the semi-plane. As if a ghost, Yang Feng shuttled back and forth among the golden sun flames and quietly absorbed them into the semi-plane. How can he freely shuttle back and forth in the golden sun flames? What's going on? The golden sun flames don't seem to be able to burn him. Amazing! Is he really just a great warlock? How heaven-defying! What a terrible monster! When the leaders of the major forces who came to congratulate Yang Feng saw this scene, they inhaled a breath of cold air, and their eyes shimmered with astonishment. The golden sun flames could even easily burn moonlight warlocks to ashes. For a trifling great warlock like Yang Feng to be able to resist the golden sun flames, that was simply heaven-defying. Lu Wuchen's creased eyebrows loosened slightly, and he revealed a smile. He looked at the arena from afar with admiration in his eyes. Lai Heng stared at Yang Feng with killing intent in his eyes. What a terrible guy. I'm afraid that this guy is 30% stronger than Shi Shui. I can't let him continue to grow. As a holy son of the Tai Yi sect, Yuan Yang could easily defeat a moonlight warlock in the starry sky warlock realm. For Yang Feng to be able to contend against Yuan Yang in the great warlock realm was simply heaven-defying. Such a genius was enough to give rise to killing intent in Lai Heng's heart. There was a flash of killing intent in the eyes of Yuan Yang's incarnation of the red gold sun python. The 9 spheres of light revolving around the red gold sun python quickly flew out and formed a strange enneagram. A thumb-thick golden sun flame god ray shot out from the center of the enneagram and barreled towards Yang Feng. Golden sun flame god ray. Yang Feng's face suddenly fell, and he blocked the trajectory of the golden sun flame god ray with the god armament holy flame god ray. The law of fire surged, and green flames containing the law of fire formed a shield of fire that blocked the holy flame god ray. When the golden sun flame god ray slammed into the holy flame sword, it easily pierced through the green flames and sent the holy flame sword flying, and then slammed into Yang Feng. A copious amount of golden sun flames spread inside Yang Feng and burned everything. Yang Feng operated the primal chaos imperishable body, and streams of primal chaos force frantically scoured inside him and drew the golden sun flames into his semiplane. When the golden sun flames entered Yang Feng's semiplane, they immediately turned into torrential flames that wreaked havoc everywhere, as if wanting to burn the semiplane to ashes. Streams of primal chaos force suddenly erupted and smashed the golden sun flames, turning them into fire elemental particles. Although Yang Feng's semiplane devoured the golden sun flames completely, but at the same time, the semiplane was shrouded in a fire cloud. Wind, fire, water, and earth elemental particles began to show signs of imbalance. From an outsider's point of view, after being hit by the golden sun flame's god ray, Yang Feng's body just swayed slightly, and he resisted it. He blocked it. He actually blocked the golden sun flame god ray. How is this possible? Is there something wrong with my eyes? That's the golden sun flame god ray. The golden sun flame god ray that can burn moonlight warlocks to death and injure glorious dawn warlocks to death. How could he block it? How could he not die? Dumbstruck, the leaders of the major forces couldn't believe their eyes. The face of the calm Li Heng changed dramatically, and he exclaimed, "How is this possible? How could he block it?" Zhao Ilian's pretty face also changed, her beautiful eyes filled with shock, and she exclaimed, "That's really heaven-defying. What spell did he use? How could he even block the golden sun flame god ray?" The eyes of Bai Ilian, who has always been indifferent and otherworldly, shimmered with shock. Clearly, Yang Feng's performance exceeded her expectations by far. Zhang Han trembled, feeling incredulous. She asked Zhou Feng, "Is that the golden sun flame god ray? Are my eyes playing tricks on me?" Zhou Feng smiled helplessly, "That's the golden sun flame god ray." Shi Shui looked at this scene with a smile. She was filled with pride and arrogance. Impossible. How could this be? An ashen face, Mo Wuheng, who has recovered 30% of his vigor, clenched his fists, stared at Yang Feng in the arena, bit his lips, and blood dripped from his lips. He, Mo Wuheng, was directly defeated by the golden sun flame divine light. For Yang Feng to easily block the golden sun flame god ray, didn't that mean that Yang Feng was 10 times more brilliant than him? This fact was a blow to the proud and arrogant Mo Wuheng. At the same time, it gave rise to an indescribable resentment. Impossible, how could you block my golden sun flame god ray? The eyes of Yi Yuanyang, who has transformed into a red gold sun python, flashed with astonishment, and he cried out, a trace of fear unconsciously appearing in his voice. The golden sun flame god ray's power is boundless, and it can restrain countless secret methods. Even Yi Yuanyang's true body can hardly withstand a golden sun flame god ray. The fact that Yang Feng easily blocked the golden sun flame god ray shook the mind of the always calm Yi Yuanyang. Yang Feng uttered with a faint smile, "It's very simple, you're too weak. You can only display less than 30% of the power of the red gold sun python's golden sun flame god ray at most. This level of golden sun flame god ray isn't qualified to hurt me." In fact, if Yang Feng hadn't implanted a semiplane in his soul seed and forced all the golden sun flames into the semiplane, then even if he practiced the primal chaos imperishable body, he still wouldn't be able to withstand the golden sun flame god ray. Moreover, after Yang Feng absorbed the golden sun flame god ray, his semiplane's wind, fire, water, and earth elemental particles began to lose balance. But Yang Feng naturally wouldn't tell Yuanyang the truth. Instead, he kept attacking Yi Yuanyang with words, looking unfathomable. However, Yang Feng naturally wouldn't tell Yuanyang the truth. Instead, he constantly attacked Yi Yuanyang with words, looking unfathomable. Yang Feng smiled coldly, then blurred into motion and shot towards Yi Yuanyang lightning fast like a ghost. Yang Feng smiled coldly, then blurred into motion and shot towards a Yuanyang lightning fast like a bolt of lightning. Wherever he passed, all the golden sun flames were directly devoured by him and sent into the semi-plane. You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.